This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero, and if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
Hey guys, this is Rosa and welcome to Tru Heel Heat.
Hello everyone, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at Tru Heel Heat. Yeah!
Y'all know what time it is. It's time for the Saturday morning cookout. It's time for some Tru Heel Heat. We are going to discuss a busy week in professional wrestling with Money in the Bank last Saturday all the way up until now, which included AEW. You had more WWE with Smackdown with the trial of Roman Reigns. You had Raw, NXT. AEW has 3 shows now that we got to cover here as well. New Japan Pro Wrestling had the Independence Day show. Stardom had their Mid Summer Champions. We got all that to discuss, plus some special guests as well. It's Tru Heel Heat 233. Let's hit the intro. Hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube and Facebook for Tru Heel Heat 233. American Money is Golden King. Discussing the latest wrestling news, including the fallout from WWE Money in the Bank 2023 from London, with Jey Uso pinning Roman Reigns for the Usos to win the Bloodline Civil War. You had Kota Ibushi reportedly on his way finally to AEW. Recap of this week in wrestling with Money in the Bank, Smackdown with the trial of Roman Reigns, Raw, NXT, AEW Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, Stardom Mid Summer Champions, NJPW Strong Independence Day, ROH TV, Impact on Access TV, and more. Of course, I am joined as always by the beautiful, the lovely Miss Krssi Luv. What is this, 4 weeks straight? Oh my God.
You know, friend, listen, you've been coming for me and I've been here consistent. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the love. I just want to say good morning to everybody. I think that the our little championship we had on the background was rigged because you won yet again. Whatever. Yeah, but hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. It's July. It's beautiful. It's nice. We had tribal court yesterday, which I'm very biased about because no one authorized this. But yes, everyone, hello. Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you as well. How is anything rigged? I know as much as you. I watch the shows as much as everybody else, and it's not my fault that I'm always right.
We need to probably put you on tribal court or something because I don't understand this. You just win 3 times in a row, 3 years in a row.
Not 3 times in a row. It was 3 and 4 years. It was 3 and 4 years. That's a good percentage. That's more than a lot of teams out there. But we got a very special guest to join us to kick things off here on Tru Heel Heat 233. He's been on the Flash It podcast in the past. We've had him on previews. We've had him here on the channel a couple of times. He always makes Krssi Luv pop with his jokes and his bits.
Yes.
He is the co-host of Coexisting with Rob and Maggie.
Love
It is
Rob.
Rob Wilkins.
Thank you for having me.
Woo,
Good
woo,
morning.
woo.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Oh man, I'm when you asked me last night if I'd do this, I'm like, absolutely.
Oh.
I was like, I'm in. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm in, you know. So thank you for having me. And you know, I was in. Like, if you said that you had to like poke things in my head like John Moxley, like,
Oh my God.
I was like, you know, I'm in. Like, I was willing to have the crimson face just to be part of this. So
I think Renee really needs to have a sit down with John for a couple of minutes. Just like it's a little bit excessive for him. Don't you think? I'm down for like the like the in the come on, we're doing a lot
In the
now.
skull. In the skull.
I so bad, like, in my life would have just loved to see that react, because I doubt she watched that live.
Right. She probably didn't even tell her. He probably didn't even get like the okay from her.
I would have
probably sent
paid
it afterwards.
I would have actually paid like money, like not too much, because I don't want to give too much money away, but I would have loved to see that reaction, like when she opened Twitter or something.
Right.
Like, just to see that face and just put her phone down and just probably scream, scare the kid or the dog or both, you know. So, but yes,
You know how many times that must have been on her timeline too.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Like,
I know he got in trouble when he got home. It's okay. Like, she saw the thing, she closed Twitter. She was like, I'm not even gonna call him. I'm gonna wait till he gets home.
Yep.
And that's not a great time when when your wife come home and you're just like, hey, hello, welcome.
And you traveled all that way. You traveled, what, 10, 13 hours to get to Japan and back, and then you're just going to get yelled at.
Yep.
First thing you're going to see is that picture, and she's going to be like, really, John? Really?
Yes, right. That's what she said. Yep. SP knows he's probably been there before. That's why.
That's how my missus came to me when I got hit with a kendo stick. So I can only imagine.
And that was a kendo stick. That was very simple. That was like the light stuff. Can you imagine?
We got a bunch of comments
in there, sorry.
Yes, very true. Very true. We got a couple of comments already in the live chat. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate y'all for joining us live for the Flagship podcast. We appreciate anyone who watches on demand. Show your appreciation back by dropping the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And like I said, sound off in the live chat. We'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible, but the best two ways to have your comment highlighted on screen is with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. We will highlight your comment and we will make sure you get your money's worth. And of course, you can also hit the join button and become a member of the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, like the Negro Buck Nick Jackson, who says, what's up, everyone? Time for some THH, baby. We also got Negro Buck, who says, got the one time I have to work on a Saturday because my job is on some bullshit, so I'll only be here for the first hour.
I'm sorry. Listen, you're getting an extra couple of dollars, friend. Just look at it that way.
And you don't always have to watch us. You can listen to us. You can listen to us while you're at work, so you'll be fine.
But the visuals are much better. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can listen, but I like to just watch it. It's much better that way. Reactions are golden,
You're here because if it was just me, you're here and Rob's here, so it balance everything out with me. The beauty is here for the show, especially Rob.
Yes.
We also got Negro Buck, who says SP3 is just too damn good, man. I'm just happy to be the champion of the only season he didn't win. Yes, Negro Buck, the only person who ever won the prediction championship over me. But it doesn't matter, Krssi. Why are you making such a big deal? Because you're the person that said it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not for anything, but you're up here whining about it. Look at
I didn't whine. First of all,
you said it was rigged.
I said something sounds a little fishy and it's just weird. I just have fun. But I'm just saying, there's no other winners.
We got one right here. Got one right here.
Okay, sure.
But a real strategic person would have one other person with it, so it doesn't look obvious. But I'm not that type of person. I'm not that type of person.
Got it. Okay. No problem.
We got Victor, who says it's always rigged when SP3 is involved. It's ridiculous. You see how they come at me, bro?
Yeah. I get it, man.
Get me
You
here.
can never be. You can never be you, right? That's the problem.
Always gotta be me. We got Negro Buck who
You
said
too much.
I would be listening to y'all at work, but since I work in a warehouse, I can't have my phone with me while on the clock. Oh, you got to put it over the loudspeakers. That's fine.
Word, let them listen to us. Right, exactly.
You got Frantic World that says, "What's up, THH, Rob, and chat? Thank you all for joining us. You guys are awesome." Also got DJ Eric with us as well in the chat. And that is why we start off every edition of the Tru Heel Heat Flagship Podcast with our roll call, shouting out those who supporting us on social media here on YouTube and on Patreon. Our top 3 conversation starters on the Tru Heels Facebook group page. You got Stewie Palmer, you got Alan Weinstein, you got Negro Buck Nick Jackson coming in at number 1 once again, and you got the Patreon backers. You got Nick Jackson, you got ALW, you got Vala B, Professor Kris, Austin K, you my boy Blue, Robert, Steve, Antoine, 5th Generation Carney, Ladarius, John, Dan, Kobe, Queen Monet, Dolores, John, DJ Eric, Beep Boop, Marcus, Justin, James, Alan, Caden, and Santo. Thank you so much for supporting us at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. And let's get into what we missed from this past week. And we'll start off with Money in the Bank from last Saturday, WWE Money in the Bank from London, England in the O2. And it marked the first time in 3.5 years Roman Reigns had gotten pinned. It was since December 15th, 2019, and it happened at Money in the Bank when Jey Uso pinned Roman Reigns for the Usos to win an absolutely fantastic Bloodline Civil War. Jey Uso pinning the undisputed WWE Universal Champion to come out on top. You also had Damian Priest beat LA Knight, Ricochet, Logan Paul, Santos Escobar, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Butch to win an excellent men's Money in the Bank ladder match. On the women's side, you had Io Sky overcome Bayley betraying her, beat Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Zelina, and Trish Stratus, and to win a wild women's Money in the Bank ladder match by climbing over her Damage Control partner Bayley to get the win. You had Shayna Baszler out of nowhere.
Oh my God! Who authorized? I'm sorry.
Turned heel and betrayed Ronda Rousey to cost them the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez crowned the new champions. And he had a couple of returns on the show, as well as John Cena made his return to suggest bringing WrestleMania to London, and had a promo exchange with Grayson Waller, ending with Cena giving him the AA. You had Gunther beat Matt Riddle to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Post-match, Drew McIntyre made his return and laid out the Intercontinental Champion with a Claymore. So you had returns, you had new Money in the Bank winners, new champions being crowned, and you had that main event, the latest chapter in what has been a phenomenal story of the Bloodline. Rob, what do you think Money in the Bank will stand out as far as the major events that we've seen from WWE in 2023 so far?
Oh man, it was up there for me. I absolutely loved it. The atmosphere, just like Backlash, I just enjoyed it. There's something about these afternoon shows that when they're and granted Puerto Rico's not international, but when you go somewhere that you're not used to seeing and you get a crowd that you're not used to, and they bring that energy, that brings the excitement for you at home. And that's what I loved about this show. They help make the show. That's why when WWE says that, like, you're the most important thing. I that's true. It's just, I wish they would
honor it and do it more often.
So yeah, and the John Cena return was great. I absolutely just loved that they were singing, like, instead of, they started with John Cena sucks, but then it turned into the fans actually singing his song, and I've never seen that with him, and it was really, really cool. Like, and you could tell the emotion, like, in him for a split second. You could see it in him, like he was surprised, and I love that because you don't see that from Cena much. And the one thing I'll say is I was surprised with the WrestleMania talk. It's something that London definitely deserves. So it's one of those things I don't know if it's going to be. We know it's not going to be next year the way it sounds from what Sean Rossap reported on Fightful, and I still don't know if it's something they'll do the year after. I think it's something that's going to happen. I just don't think it's planned like as close as people think. I think it's just they're just getting it out there. Logistically,
it feels like something that they were WWE trying to pressure London into paying the money to get there. And like you said, Sean Rossap.
Oh wait, hold on, stop. I'm sorry, rewind. You said pay money for them to come there?
Yeah, you have to bid to have WrestleMania come to
your
city.
So like it's like the Olympics.
Yeah,
yes.
Kinda.
Shut the front door.
Yep.
For real?
Yeah. So
I
offered $25 and a gift card to Valvoline. They said no. So,
well, you have to bid.
Sorry,
you have to bid, and like you said, Fightful reported that they already are locked in for Philadelphia in 2024.
Duh.
Minnesota seems like the favorite for 2025. So 2026 is the nearest time that we could have a WrestleMania in London.
And to be honest with you, from what I've gathered living in Minnesota, I don't think it's us. I don't, just from what I've talked to, but we'll see. I've been told wrong things a lot in my life, so we'll find out.
Interesting. Okay, got it.
Before we get to Krssi Luv and ask her thoughts on Money in the Bank, we got to run in here from this guy who shows up less than Krssi Luv. He is.
But no, first of all, don't do that. That's not that. Don't do that. Okay. He's on a schedule and he's been keeping his schedule.
This is true.
Don't do that.
This would count as his one for July, I guess. He is
true because
everyone's favorite alcoholic here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. It's Top Guy JJ. How you doing?
Hey,
what up, people?
Hello.
What up, people?
Hello.
You see. I try to take time out of this extremely busy schedule of mine to make a little pop in, to say what's up to the Tru Heels, say what's going on with you guys, and then immediately 2 minutes in the back, I get thrown under the bus. 2 minutes.
He cannot be his true authentic self unless he does that. That's his love language. You do know that, right?
Yes, I am very aware of this. For almost 6 years of Tru Heel Heat now,
see,
we're approaching 6 years.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy that we're approaching 6 years. So before we get, can we just get like a formal introduction of the two sitting across from each other right now? Just so
Rob,
Rob,
is our third co-host who shows up once a month as per his contract. Top Guy JJ.
Hi, man. How you doing?
What's going on, Rob? All right. So I came on real quick because I ain't got a lot of time, as y'all can clearly see. I gotta,
job.
Serve a lot of hot. There's a lot of hot and hostile people out there because it is fucking heat in New York. It's fucking wicked. It's like not even noon and it's almost 90 already.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Do you guys have a big sale going on over there?
I'll let you know when something's worth it.
Got you. Over there. Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to let y'all know real quick because I did kind of miss. I'm an honest man. Whether I'm right or wrong, I'm an honest man. So I actually missed June. June because of how extremely busy I had. The June sale going on. I had my top manager go on maternity leave. So I had a lot of stuff going on. So to make that up, for the first time since the pandemic, I'm going to be on back-to-back episodes of Tru Heel Heat in July.
What?
So for the next 2 weeks, and this doesn't count. Okay.
Okay.
This does not count.
I was about to say.
This does not count. This does not count.
Show up next
so
week too.
July 15th and July 22nd, I will be on both full episodes of Tru Heel Heat for the entire 3. I don't know why the fuck he has made this show over 3 hours now, but for the entire, he's turning Tru Heel Heat into Monday Night Raw, basically.
Yeah.
So we're going to get back-to-back weeks. I hope to see you, Boo. I hope to see you, Krssi, on those 2 episodes because our schedules haven't been like the friendliest to each other on my pop-up appearances.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just wanted to drop in, let y'all know that real quick. So yeah, 2 weeks in a row. First time since the pandemic, back-to-back weeks. And then also a care package giveaway is coming very soon because I know we've recently hit some milestones. So a little bit more details. I'm gonna share that with the team in the back and let them make that announcement promptly because they're much more organized with time and maintenance and shit on this channel.
Like Mama can't win this year. Somebody new has to win, friend.
So yeah. So
now, if you want to send her something
Mama Buck is going to be unallowed to be in this tournament and not tournament, but this giveaway because I want to share the love to the rest of the Tru Heel Heat community.
Sorry, Nick.
But it's gonna kind of suck to hear. This year's is gonna be even better.
Very cool.
So I plan on it being at a minimum of 2, but I aiming on it being 3.
Ooh.
So
that's fancy.
So I'm gonna share the details with the team and let them see if they can drive some incentive to get this going. But yeah, I think it's time to give back and show some love to the people that's helped this channel grow immensely over the last, especially in 2023. 2023 has been crazy. So the fact that 2023 has been crazy, so we got to show some love back, and I'm pretty sure they love seeing our faces, and they love. But I think it's something special when you receive something back from the people that you support.
This is true. Thank you, as always, Top Guy, for those giveaways. I know Negro Buck and his mom are going to be upset they're not in this one, but Negro Buck will still support the cause.
He definitely will.
It's a good prize.
They would have, so since Negro Buck, right? And the reason why Negro Buck is because Negro Buck has been on the channel now. Like he's been on the shows.
Mm-hmm.
So he's become an integral part of the Tru Heel family. So he's not like your normal viewer / subscriber. He's been on shows.
Yep.
So it's a little different now.
That is fair. But
yeah, and for you, Negro Buck, I see that comment there. It's cool. Just throw a couple discounts my way on the loan. We're good. You know what? That's possible.
That's fair.
But again, that's going. I'm gonna need some support from you to help drive some incentive to the channel. So you give me, we gotta get something back here. So it's not gonna cost you anything, but you give, I give.
One hand washes the other.
Pause.
That's my back, I crash your back.
One hand washes the other.
I'm just gonna pause. I'm just gonna pause.
Their hand. That's washing your hand.
I'm letting you. I'm just because
these
people and these people in these comments and ever since Cam and Mace have been taking the world by storm with it is what it is. You gotta watch your language with every fucking thing you say. So I'm just gonna pause in advance. So
in advance of anything else,
we don't get clipped.
Okay, fine.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just saying.
Fair.
Even though it's probably a fair statement and a fair comment to use, just want to be protected. That's it.
Well, Top Guy, since we have you here, what was your highlight, low light from Money in the Bank?
My highlight was definitely the crowd. The highlight was the crowd. Like, it seems like this is the thing that no matter what WWE has done this year, that's the one thing that's been right consistently all year, because they've stayed away from U.S. soil in arenas with premium live events, and they will continue that with SummerSlam because that is not in an arena on U.S. soil. So that's all stadiums or all outside, and these crowds have been spectacular. And it feels like every event, the crowd like almost challenges the next crowd to a degree.
Yeah.
So you get the crowd singing the entire Cody Rhodes song. You get the crowd singing the entire John Cena song. You get the fucking when you see Jay Pin Roman, you get the fucking party going. Like you ain't getting, and pretty much every star that came out got some form of chant or thing directed right to them, which was fantastic, man. And I absolutely loved it. Probably one of the weakest wrestling events from WWE this year, in my opinion. But as far as just the event, it was amazing. And again, another fun WWE event to watch because of the crowd. But as far as matches, it was pretty meh.
That's fair.
And
that's fair.
The low light,
that was a low light. That sounded like
the low light.
That was a highlight. That was low light.
The low light, I think, was the actual competition, except for the Bloodline Civil War. Like the Bloodline Civil War was fantastic, but I think just about except the men's Money in the Bank match was really good. The women's Money in the Bank match was pretty good. Like you had the 2 Money in the Banks and then the Civil War. Everything else to me just felt subpar. Like Cody and Dominic's match was fucking awful to me.
I wouldn't say awful.
Not
I
awful,
would say
but
it exposed. It was awful for Dominic. It exposed that he's not as hot.
Match.
But it exposed that he's not as hot as people thought he was, because once the bell rings, it seems like all his heat disappeared and people stopped caring.
Yeah, because he doesn't get enough offense in matches. And the fact that he doesn't get any offense in these matches, and the names that he's going against too high profile of people to actually look like a believable match for him. Like, he needs to start a little bit lower tier, because he's having these matches against Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes. This is too big for him. Like, his heat is there, but his in-ring is all the way below the fucking screen where my hand can't be seen. It's not. It just don't work. It don't work, bro. Like, you can't. Like, yes, he's great on the mic, but give him these big, high-profile matches. He's got to win some before giving him those big matches. Like, he's not winning any one-on-one matches. He lost to Rey Mysterio. He lost to Seth Rollins. He lost to Cody Rhodes. He's not beating anybody.
Yeah.
So, like, it won't be believable with his in-ring stuff, because you don't got any proof for it. You don't have anything that you can actually just attach anything to, because there's nothing there except the crowd. Like, it's literally reliant on the crowd, and that ain't gonna work for so long. But yeah, I just think the low light was just that overall, outside of those 2 Money in the Bank matches and the Bloodline, was just the competition, just the matches. Was really disappointed in Seth and Finn.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But
what?
Yeah. So, I think that would consider that like the low light. But overall, fun to watch. Make sure your TV's up if you decide to watch Money in the Bank, because that's the best thing about the show. It's the crowd. But yeah, I mean, anything involving Bloodline, Civil War, and everything right now, it's on fire. Literally the best thing on wrestling television. You can agree with it or not. It simply is. Like, the Bloodline is the best thing in wrestling TV. Now, people's dragging it to real life TV. People need to shut the fuck up about that and actually watch something that's not wrestling. But we're not going to drag it there because people's living in the fantasy world. It's like, oh, this is the best shit I've ever seen. Okay, chill. It's great, but chill. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been really fun, and it's at the perfect time to road to SummerSlam.
This felt like that was directed at Romeo, who's been comparing it to cinema every single time he has a chance to. But
I mean, 2023 cinema has been pretty average, so I guess you wanna do that, then that's fine.
It's on par with the Flash. But yes, JJ, thank you for joining us today. I know you gotta go and get back to work. Please let people know where they can follow you on social media, sir.
Well, Instagram, you can find me at Tru Heel _ Top Guy JJ. On here, again, I mentioned earlier, you can find me here on the podcast, the flagship podcast with these two lovely people up here, and many special guests like my man Rob over here, which is going to take over and do my job for the last 2.5 hours of the show. You can find me on here for the next 2 weeks, starting next week. And on Tru Heel Heat Sports with the gang, with Romeo and the Stat King, we're going to be getting very, very involved with this upcoming football schedule and all this turmoil and everything that's going to be going down over the next month, and all of our predictions and everything that we usually have a lot of fun talking about. And there's probably going to be a ton of guests there too, because our sports channel has grown quite a bit. So it's going to be some fun stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you, good brother, for joining us. And we will see you next week.
We'll see y'all next week, and on time.
We'll see about that. All right, later.
Yeah, we'll keep that up. Later, guys.
Peace.
You know, the one thing I wanted to add about the SummerSlam and the crowd, you know, Detroit's not used to celebrating things or like being happy and clapping and seeing things like victories. So they'll be ready to go. So he made a good point. They'll be ready to go. They're not used to seeing championships defended and possibly won. So they'll be going. I hope there's no Lions fans in here, but if there are, they're not going to admit it anyway. So, but yeah. So you made a good point.
This is true. I think Detroit's going to be a good crowd. It was good for WrestleMania 23. It'll be good for this. Krssi, final word on Money in the Bank. What did you think about the women's Money in the Bank ladder match? Do you agree with some people who have been saying that it's the best one that they've had? And what did you think about Shayna turning on Ronda?
Best one. That's what people are saying. Wow. I love the ending. The ending was very, very creative. It had lots of like, you know, botches here and there, but they've overcame and they tried to clear it up and clean it up. Out of how many we've had, maybe how many we've had?
Six, I think, because this is
number 6.
2017 we had 2.
Oh, no.
2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022.
So
this is the 8th one.
Eighth. Wow. Okay.
I was like, I was like 4. I'm like,
you
4
said
that
4.
I remember. That just shows how the other ones went. So
right. I mean, I think this is one of the top ones, best ones. I'm not sure if it's the best one. Top 3, maybe. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It was the best one for me because, I mean, seeing Bayley and Becky in handcuffs, just that.
Well, that's for any guys to say that. But,
so okay.
As far as wrestling is concerned and aesthetics and the people involved, I love that they gave this more of like, I feel like it was like veterans and newbies, if that makes sense. I love that for that. I love the ending. I love that EO did win, and I love that Bayley's on this ride thinking that she's a part of it. Such good shit. Shayna going against Ronda. We don't have much time for this. I'm sorry. But I don't understand it. I don't get it. We literally just changed the titles. You got it. You let Alba and what's the damn girl name? Oh God,
Alba and Isla.
Alba and Isla. You let them lose their tag titles, right? You combine the championships, and then you make them lose it and break up. Like, what is the point of all of this? This is why Mercedes and Trinity said, you know what, fuck this shit, let me go because this doesn't even make any fucking sense. This is why they don't take these tag titles seriously. Then Liv was just injured, now we give it back to them. They didn't really have a great run in the fucking first place, so we give it back to the girls that didn't lose it. I don't understand this. So now we make Shayna go against Ronda, which Shayna is not really the freaking heel. The crowd is behind her. Did you not hear them cheering for her? Like, what? Like, WWE does not get a lot of shit. they don't understand people when they are cheering them for the opposite reasons.
Yeah.
They're not cheering them because they're like, oh my God, she's going against Ronda. No, they don't like Ronda, so they cheer her for fighting her. They were mad that you guys made her be in a tag team with her. She lost all of her music. She never had any type of like chance to be herself when she was with Ronda. You lost the whole point of who the Queen of Hearts was. Now she was like her lapdog to her best friend. It does not make any sense. It's stupid. I don't understand what happened. And then you see Liv did not not know that this was supposed to happen, because she was like, what the fuck? Am I supposed to like be like shocked? Like, am I supposed to like do this? Like, I feel like no one knew this audible was going to happen except Shayna and Ronda. Dumb. Really, really dumb.
I mean, they did not build up to it at all.
Like, where was the signs? Where was the signs that Shayna was not happy because she didn't have any music?
As far as it taking away from Shayna Baszler teaming up with Ronda, I would argue it gave her something, because they had stripped her. They stripped her. Yeah, they stripped everything of her before she even teamed with Ronda. This seemed like the last ditch effort to get us to here, but they just rushed it. That's all they really did. If you remember, the whole purpose why Shayna decided to team back up with Ronda is because Ronda pointed out that Shayna had lost her edge. This was the whole point of bringing out that with this rivalry. So I think it helped her a lot more than hurt her. And Shayna Baszler is the Queen of Spades, not the Queen of Hearts. I don't know if she changed her gimmick or she's gotten more cards.
I know it was something Queen of something, but I just like, again, she never was the Queen of Spades or whatever. Like, I feel like it got lost in the shuffle. Something that was supposed to help her, it made her lose it again. Like, this was supposed to be, and they were supposed to be something dominant. I thought, like, okay, finally something happened with these two. They're gonna dominate the girls. They're gonna be like this big, like, they're supposed to be badasses for a reason. I never
unified the titles and then lost them 8 days later.
8 days later, like, you should have just let Alba and Isla lose to freaking if you knew this is what you was gonna do, you should have just let Isla and them have a little bit of a run and then let them lose, because you ain't seen them ever since. 2 weeks.
Any thoughts on Shayna turning on Ronda, Rob?
I liked how they did it. I mean, it was out of nowhere. You didn't get a hint of it happening, so that was good. So I think that was the best thing about it. That's what I liked. The crowd reaction was great.
The crowd was great, yes.
So I think that was a good time to do it. The one thing that I agree with is they make those tag titles look like junk, because it's basically Shayna just saying, I don't want the title. It doesn't matter to me. So that part I don't like. However, I think they did that because Liv was hurt, but I also don't know why you take those titles off of Isla, either, like Isla and
they were so good
as well. So it's very questionable, and I'm starting to get kind of very disturbed by these people that get called up and then Vince doesn't use them like really at all. He's been using Pretty Deadly, which is good, but I'm starting to get kind of concerned by a lot of that, but that's nothing new. So, but I do like how they're going. The question is how long they keep this momentum going for Shayna. So that's something she cut a good promo this past week.
Yes.
With Ronda.
Say that, yes.
So that was needed. She's going to be the face in this, which is you don't often see.
How do you not see that?
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing like last night. To piggyback off that, LA Knight not being used on SmackDown, and that was so bad. Like, sorry. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, he got a huge pop, of course, at Madison Square Garden. His merchandise is towards the top in the company already, and that shirt just released, and that's one of the biggest things that helps with your push if you're selling merch, but not all the time, because we know how Rusev Day went. That's one thing Vince does not like. He does not like people building their self without it being his idea or him being the person that did it. Yep.
Let me tell you, being there at the Garden last night, outside in the arena when you're going in, everyone kept saying, yeah. Let me talk to you. I can guarantee, I'm telling you this because I was there and I heard them. They didn't say anybody else. They kept saying that. Usually it's like woos, or they're saying like, give me your ones or whatever. I promise you, they only said LA Knight from the beginning to the end. And when he popped on, and a lot of people were upset because they were at the concession stands getting ready for the show, like 15 minutes before I was supposed to start, and they hear LA Knights. You should have seen everyone scattering like roaches because they wanted to see him. That's how much and then they had none of his merch on sale, nothing there for you to buy for him. It was bad. It's a disservice. And just like you said, you made a great point, because it's like, if Vince doesn't make it, like if this is not his idea, I'm sorry, you have to go sit down.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
I'm sorry. If you don't fight for yourself, then who is? So you have to go on Twitter. You have to he's gonna have to make a name for himself, unfortunately, behind the scenes, where his merch will be pushed and do all these things, because again, Vince is not gonna do it.
Oh, what's crazy about that is, with Vince, he's one of those guys where if you're not, it's been said before that if you're not wanting to be the world champion, then what are you doing there? He's been known to say that to people, and he's like, my thing is, if I know I don't have a shot to be the world champion because you won't let me, I'm going to do something else to at least get myself over.
Yep.
I want to be Intercontinental Champion. I want to be a champion, or I want to be on TV, so. And it shows with Vince. Like, I knew Vince McMahon was back when he put Otis back with the cute woman, like,
you know what? Yes, because it's like, how did she get with that?
Because Vince loves that.
Mandy 2.0.
Yep, he loves that, because he gives guys, the reason behind it is, the whole thing, from what it sounds like, is he likes, there's a meaning behind it. It's to give people at home hope that they can get the supermodel, and it works, because I had hope for a while too. There's still a little hope, but yeah, that's what it is, because it just went right back to it, and he thinks it's hilarious, and to an extent it is hilarious, because it's Otis. Otis is funny, so
Otis makes lemon out of lemonades, and he's going to just do whatever you tell him to do.
Yes.
Indeed. Talking about the Ronda and Shayna turn, Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio noted that Baszler versus Rousey is expected to take place sooner rather than later, due to Rousey having given WWE a hard out date for her contract. He said, and I quote, "It kept getting delayed, and then Ronda got hurt, and the thing was, and I don't know the date, and it might be SummerSlam, it might be a little bit after. The deal is that Ronda has a hard out. She gave a date. This is my last date," because I remember talking to somebody there, and it's like, I know they're going to do this and I guess make the big match for WrestleMania, but it's like, no, her hard out is quote unquote. They didn't give me the date, and it's long before WrestleMania. They want to do a feud. The whole tag team was to set up Ronda and Shayna doing a feud, and Ronda wanted to do this feud with Shayna. She got what she wanted. She always wanted to do it because Shayna is the one who got her basically into pro wrestling. So there was a lot of truth to what Baszler was saying in that promo on Raw and everything. But I mean, if they're losing Ronda Rousey, a lot of people think that Ronda Rousey is going to return to the UFC, which I think that's a bad move.
I'm about to say the same thing. She wants to do what?
Yeah.
Sis, go back to the farm and be a mom and just do the regular life stuff that you're supposed to do.
I don't know if you guys I don't know if you guys watched Home Improvement back in the day, but that's like where Al Borland say, "I don't think so, Tim." So like, that'd be like, no, I'm gonna have to pass on that. That's
a no for me, dog.
Disaster. Yeah, no,
it's a no for me, dog.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, the feud, if that's the feud that's supposed to happen, great. And I think that was one of the best promos exchanges Ronda has ever done. And I guess it's good when you're doing it with a friend. And you feel, I think if she felt comfortable, I feel like for the first time since seeing her, I can't believe I'm fucking saying this. Oh my God. she actually like looked like, you know, she was like she was supposed to be there. She felt comfortable. Like she was still a little stiff in certain places, but the exchange back and forth, like I felt like they were like no one was there, and it was just Shayna and Ronda just speaking back and forth to each other.
Tunnel vision.
Right.
Yeah. That's what they say when you're in there with like your good friend, someone you could trust. The level of comfortability is kind of up there in the ring and on the mic, it seems. But other than the big turn, one of the big moments was Drew McIntyre making his return at Money in the Bank. And according to PW Insider and Fightful Select, Drew McIntyre's contract is still up in early 2024. PW Insider reports that contract talks have not yet begun, in part because there is so much time left on the deal. And McIntyre was said to be wanted by WWE to return at Money in the Bank, but McIntyre wanted a strong storyline when he returned, and they came to an agreement in the last days heading into the show. Triple H shot down reports of creative issues during the post-show press conference, and McIntyre was said to have been in continuous communications with Triple H and WWE, and was also dealing with some injuries that had piled up. Fightful Select notes that the return was kept very quiet and that both sides were particularly silent on the topic in the weeks leading into Money in the Bank. So do you think that they are going to actually re-sign Drew McIntyre now after his return? And do you believe that him and Triple H were laughing about the reports that Drew McIntyre would leave the company? Rob, I see you saying no.
Well, I don't think he's leaving, but I think there was I think what Triple H said is not true. I think there was no talking. Like, I mean, it's one of those things where they can pick up the phone anytime. You know, that's one of the things. I just don't think they were. You know what I mean? It's I think they're just trying to play it cool. But that's the thing. Drew can. I think Drew wants to do. I think Drew wants to be there. I don't think he wants to leave. I think he wants to get paid like he should get paid. And I think he'll stay if he gets paid. Mm-hmm. The one thing is if I'm him, I'm the same way though, because I think a lot of people in WWE are concerned because, and I would be too, because we've seen how UFC does contracts, and that's now the parent company. They look at people that they don't like, we can just do without them. Mm-hmm. That's a concern with me because this is different now. This is different. They need to look at UFC needs to look at WWE like how how networks look at their TV shows. You don't want to lose your characters. These are what you have. UFC is different. UFC is like, don't get me wrong, they're both sports, but UFC is completely different compared to WWE. You need to keep your characters because that people get more invested, and that's why you can't just let these people go. And I hope somebody that gets involved with this company on the UFC side gets that. And I think they do because you have Nick Khan there. I think he gets that. That's a big thing. But Nick Khan and Triple H, I think they're going to do what it takes to keep Drew. I really do. I think Drew wants to be there. And that's just me thinking out loud. Because Drew has talked about how much he likes working with Special Olympics. He likes doing the Make-A-Wish Foundation stuff. He's been on the record saying that, and as Ace says, Drew holds all the cards right now, like in his future, like he has it, and that's a good time to have it. So I do think and that's easy for me to say. I'm guessing, but I think he wants to be there, but I think he wants the money too, and I don't blame him one bit for wanting that money. I think for the most part, I've said the same thing about the Young Bucks with their contracts talk. You have a family, you know, like you would be crazy not to at least see what WWE offers, you know, like you owe it to yourself, I think, but that's up to you. Like we know Jon Moxley didn't even look at the contract offer, so you got to do what's best for you. And maybe they won't, but that's the way I look at it. And it's easy, again, it's easy for me to say because it's not me, but I'm thinking from a different perspective. So it's one of those things where if Tony Khan can give him a better deal, then by all means go do it. But I just can't see it.
Yeah. I think it's a thing where on John's point of view, I think he was just fed up and just wanted to do something different or go back to what he used to do. I feel like he felt dumbed down when he was with WWE. And then for him now, he's like doing multiple shows. I'm sure that bag is full. And I don't think it was more so about money for him. I think it was more so about wrestling for him, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whereas Drew is definitely about the money.
Yeah, right. I feel like he's a company guy, but I also want I feel like he wants the money too. I'm worth this, and if you're not going to pay me my worth, then I have to just take my things to South Beach and go.
There you go. Someone else who returned at Money in the Bank was, of course, John Cena. Fightful Select had more details in regards to his surprise appearance. Cena's appearance was kept very close to the event, as with other aspects of the show, and very few people knew that Cena would be in attendance. Additionally, WWE higher-ups have informed Fightful that John Cena was only scheduled to appear at the show, and he doesn't have any upcoming programs planned. However, that could potentially change if his schedule should suddenly free up. Also, WWE was said to have been very happy with how things were executed with his appearance and his in-ring segment featuring Grayson Waller on the show as well. But John Cena kind of stirred up the pot, and you kind of talked about it a little, Rob, with the whole WrestleMania in London. Do you think that is mostly on the aspect of wanting to bring WrestleMania to London, Krssi Luv, or do you think that AEW breaking a record in London has a little bit more to do with it than WWE would let
on? Absolutely. I asked you guys several times, do you think they're watching or do you think they're talking about this stuff? They are talking about it, because why would you not call John Cena like, hey, Bryn, I need you to make a slight change in your plans. Are you busy on, July the 1st? Was it the 2nd? Whichever date it was. It doesn't even fucking matter. All I know is that we need you here. Can you get here as soon as possible? We'll pay you this to get here. We'll send the jet. It's fired up. It's ready for you. Just come. What? They are petty hoes. They are petty. They cannot let Tony Khan get one up on them. You know this. This is Tony Khan said, hey, I'm going to go to London. Well, we're going to do Money in the Bank in London. We're going to do it on a Saturday right after your show. Maybe that was already pre-planned because, they do the list or whatever. Anywho, that doesn't even fucking matter. All I know is that they said, you know what? We need a big guy to come here and stir up some fun. John Cena's the guy, and he was ready. He's not doing any movies. Well, he probably was busy from filming one of his same roles that he do in all the other movies. He's like Gabrielle Union. They just typecast these people. They do the same roles all the time. I need to see them do something.
Vivica A. Fox.
Another one. They do the same. Megan Good. Like, I could go down the list. SP. We could talk about it, but it's not. This is a different whole podcast and show. But yes, they are petty hoes. They learned from CM Punk. They're gonna be pet. No, wait, no. Wrong analysis. Sorry.
He's a messy hoe.
That's a messy hoe, right? Vince and Paul are petty hoes. So we have to get them and bring over John. So yes, they definitely was talking in the back. They was doing lots of pillow talk at home, chilling at the barbecue before a week or two before someone's birthday party. One of the kids, they got kids and whatnot. They were saying, how can we make money and get people to talk? There you go. You bring John Cena. You get Drew to come. You get all these people to come to make this show big when the matches wasn't even that good.
I mean, I liked a lot of the matches. I just think the WrestleMania going to London. That was their way to be like, yeah, you can have your little small event in August. We're gonna top it when we bring WrestleMania here
in 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
that I didn't even know that you had to do a bid for. See, now you're just straight making up stories.
Yeah. It is possible 2026 or 2025. Well, no, sorry, 2026 is possible, but
3 years from now.
Yeah, I we'll see.
I mean, listen, if it's in London, that would be something huge and tremendous because that would be like the first time for it to be out of the U.S. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Well, Canada, Toronto.
Canada, out of North America.
Oh, North America, yeah.
Okay, out of North America. That's fine. Again, it would be something very, very big. Now, if they can get the big stadium like they did before for SummerSlam, that'd be great. Do it. I'm here for all of it. I love WrestleMania season. Do it. If you do, and then you have 2 shows there. Oh my God. Then I'm like, oh my God, we did all these record numbers and lie on the first night and say, and we combined everything. We just broke all these records, and we had an outstanding amount of people that came and bought tickets and flew in from all over the world. Blah, 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 blah. Great, do it. And then WrestleMania will start at 3 in the afternoon.
Yep. Yeah, I'll be fine with that. I think
I'll be fine with that. Yeah, let's do. Listen, 2026. I put my vote in for it. Do it.
You want all pay-per-views in the afternoon in 2026?
I mean, not all of them. No, that's a little bit far-fetched. Let's not do all that. But you know,
at our last pay-per-view that was in 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Logan Paul had a big botch spot with Ricochet during the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, and he talked about that on his show, on how he was feeling after the pay-per-view. Logan Paul said, guys, I'm a little tired. We're in London. I literally just got done doing Money in the Bank. I'm a little beat up. Money in the Bank ruined my life. I lost, and I'm a wanker, I guess. These fans go so hard. They have no respect for what I do. I'm sacrificing my body out there. I jumped onto Damian Priest on a ladder, frog splashed him, and bounced off this human like a trampoline. Yeah. I felt his rib cage crush under the weight of my 60-inch box jump. And they started chanting, "You still suck. You still suck." On if he gets mad when fans chant mocking him, he says, I think they're having fun. I think they're having fun making fun of me, and that makes me have fun. On his botch spot with Ricochet during the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, he said there was a botched move with a dangerous landing. I walked away this time relatively unscathed. I got some scraps and bruises, but no major tweaks or pulls. But Ricochet and I are supposed to do what's called a Spanish fly off the top rope. So one of our legs is on the rope, one of our legs is on the ladder, and we're supposed to hit it at the same time. When we hit that rope, it was before me, so he moved it, so I slipped down all the way to the bottom. Keep in mind, I'm a noob. I don't really know what I'm doing out there, so when stuff goes wrong, I don't really know how to improv. So in my head, I'm like, this is fucked. We fucked this up. How is this gonna do this? How is he even gonna do this? Our legs are all twisted like this. I'm looking at him like, oh, this motherfucker is trying to send me into this shit. I'm not even ready. His feet aren't even planted off the second rope, just hugs a backup. I'm like, all right. When crashing through the tables, scraped my shoulder, I hit my head on the thing. I'm fine, no concussions or anything. It's just a wild sport. I don't know what I'm doing.
Listen, I mean, you wanted to be a part of this, friend, and this is what you get. I mean, luckily, Ricochet was, able to salvage it and fix it a little bit, but the more I feel like, because Logan Paul is not going anywhere, I feel like he's going to be here for a long time. And I give him a lot of shit, but, he does perform very well. Like him and Bad Bunny are like the top celebrity guys that's been like outshine. Like they are
probably all time. I think they're all-time best celebrities.
Best celebrities of all time, because you have, your regular ones that just come in like, hey. They wouldn't actually want to learn this and do the craft, and like they put in work for this. So I can give him credit where credit is due. And you going out there and you're putting your body on the line. You're doing like shit that like you said, like no other celebrity. They are the top celebrities that has done this and executed very well. They're having matches. They've had more than, like, celebrities will come for like one match. They'll come and they say hello, and then they leave and they get their checks. These two guys actually like wrestling, and they want to do it correctly. They want to give the fans and give us a service that we are asking for. It's like, learn the craft, do it correctly, and don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
And I think he likes when people boo him. I think that probably pushes his ego so goddamn much. I mean, come on. Logan.
He loves it.
He loves this shit. And I mean, kudos to them for, not hurting themselves or whatever. Like, he walked away with a couple of scratches and bruises. But again, I guess he will learn this as he goes on longer. Like, okay, we fucked this up. Let's figure out how we can still get the move in, but in a different way. So I guess, Ricochet was like on adrenaline, let's just do this. And, he took his ass with him. And that's what happened.
What do you think about that being the matchup for SummerSlam? That's been reported that it's going to be Ricochet versus Logan Paul at the event, Rob.
I think let's go. Let's see what these guys can do. Yeah. I honestly at first thought maybe we were going to see them the way they were like acting. Well, that we saw the backstage fight, and then they're going to have their like meeting on Monday. Yeah. And for part of me, like the way they were going and the way Ricochet was talking, part of me was like, maybe they're going to actually, I thought maybe there's a possibility they might actually like bury the hatchet and actually be a team and fight somebody. But I think they are going to have a singles match and bring it on. Like, bring it. I'm all for it. I thought, like, my first prediction when I when I thought about this, when I heard those two were going to be like having a meeting and on Raw, and then I heard like Ricochet cut like a back. It might have been an interview. I cannot remember where I heard it, but he talked very positive about Logan. And that's kind of when I was wondering, I'm like, I wonder if this is going to be a tag match, because then I was thinking, who can I see them wrestling like in a program? Who can lose to them and still be fine? And I was thinking, I know Imperium's messing with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but I could see them kind of not liking Logan at all. And that's what I was thinking at first. But now I think it's going to be a singles match. But that's at first, that's what I was thinking. But it's going to be a singles match, and it's a good way to go because those guys are going to do something absolutely crazy. So just bring it.
Last two times.
Didn't it start at WrestleMania first?
No, Royal Rumble when they did the coast to coast spot in the middle of the ring.
So this has been foreshadowing for a while now, guys. I feel like this has been happening, and I think it happened again when they did the whole They didn't do anything.
No, it was just the Royal Rumble and then this spot in the.
Okay, never mind. I take away my comment. I'm sorry.
I think eventually you'll see them have a tag match, though. I think they're gonna have a singles match, and then I see down the road I could see them having a tag match.
They're two high flyers, so I feel like this is a good way for Ricochet. One, Ricochet's on TV.
Yes.
Regardless.
Yes.
This is like Ricochet is like, what? I'm gonna be on TV. Let me do
you let me feud with the celebrity heel. Oh, right. Great! I'm in here.
I don't mind losing. Like Ricochet just like, I'm on TV, and I feel like people like that take the opportunity and like let's just run with it. We can do this. Let me get this time in, and let me just do this. Let me showcase this. He's a high flyer. He's a great wrestler, so he's gonna do some stuff. And then now Logan can now come and showcase himself too. And like put his trust in this guy and said, let's get this dance party started.
Yeah.
There you go. One final note from Money in the Bank. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that the traditional pay-per-view buys for Money in the Bank were up from the last two premium live events. The show had 10,500 buys, which is up 26% from Night of Champions, 56% from Backlash, and it's up 9.1% from last year's Money in the Bank. The numbers are likely to grow thanks to word of mouth and late buys. Night of Champions previously grew 32% after his first week, and during the press conference following Money in the Bank, Triple H said that it was the highest grossing arena event in company history. He specifically said arena, so that likely means the company's stadium events have performed better, and an exact number wasn't provided by WWE, but Triple H said those are two pretty bold statements that everybody here should be proud of. We're very proud of it. So Money in the Bank was a success, another success outside of the United States for WWE pay-per-views, and it's just seems like it's gonna be a thing that continues for some time to go. And the success for their arena events did continue on SmackDown last night, as it became Madison, the the highest grossing Madison Square Garden event in WWE history, and the highest grossing arena event in company history was last night's SmackDown in Madison Square Garden. And of course, it's SmackDown, so it featured more bloodline drama as we had the tribal court, the trial of the tribal chief Roman Reigns, which featured the Usos showing Roman's past transgressions before Reigns basically suckered his cousin Jay in by seemingly giving up his ceremonial necklace as the tribal chief and then bowing to him, getting on his knee and crying legit tears before delivering a low blow. Roman and Solo beat down both Jay and Jimmy, but not before Solo actually picked up the ceremonial necklace and looked like he was going to put it on after the fans chanted for him to put it on. Jay broke this up, but he was eventually, the numbers got the better of him, and he had to watch Roman beat down his brother Jimmy, and then Solo drive him through the announce table with a big splash, the same splash that he tried at Money in the Bank. He hit it here. This led to Jimmy Uso being stretchered out of the building, but in the final segment, Jay Uso returned. He beat down Solo Sikoa with a steel chair, got the better of Roman Reigns, and then challenged the tribal chief for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship to a one-on-one match, finally end this, and presumably that's going to go down at SummerSlam. We also had Austin Theory. He beat Sheamus to retain the United States Championship. That was one of 3 matches on this show. Very light on wrestling on this wrestling show. And you had Edge on the Grayson Waller effect, where Edge challenged Grayson Waller to his first match on SmackDown, with Edge defeating Waller in a very competitive bout. And after the match, Edge told Grayson Waller that he swam, because the question was, would he sink or would he swim? And Edge said that he swam during their matchup. Rob, what did you think about SmackDown last night, and especially the tribal court? Did it live up to the other great Bloodline segments that we've seen so far?
I thought it was a great segment. I think it like normal. I thought it went a little long, but it was good. And you could tell that things were changing on the fly again last night, because it did go long. So that was an issue. And I kind of wonder why I think it's because Roman has free reign. No pun intended there. But he can add to like a story and keep things going, and it's fresh, and they're going based off the crowd too. And I think it just went over, and that kind of obviously made things last longer than they should have. It was good. I think what's intriguing me the most with all this is Solo's reactions. That's what's getting me involved with
Baby
this.
brother.
So that's really getting me. That's catching my attention. Overall, SmackDown was good. I thought Edge, Waller, I actually enjoyed that segment a lot. I'm glad AJ got the win last night. I think that was needed for him. It was, even though it was a quick match, and it's one of those things where, like, the way how fast it went, it was kind of just like, but they went the right direction there. So it's overall, I enjoyed it. I was actually kind of rooting for Sheamus to get the win, but now I think from things that I've seen on Twitter, and I think this is what I would like to see. I would like to see LA Knight be the one that beats Austin Theory. The reason I say that is the reason I say that it gets WWE off the hook a little bit. Like, they don't have to worry about him being in the title picture at all, because the crowd's still gonna like hijack the show when he's on there, but they're not gonna do it when he's like involved in other things, because if he continued to do that, he's gonna just get more popular and more popular. If he has a title, you don't have to worry about it as much. So this US title is not doing a damn thing for Austin Theory. You let him work with arguably your biggest star of all time, and it did not do a damn thing for him like at WrestleMania.
Nope.
John Cena was right. You're just gonna go out there and do your thing, and that's it.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Though, Cena.
And Cena was right. Like, and that's the way I felt. Like, there's something about Theory. They didn't do him any favors when they had him work with McMahon at all. That was the biggest thing with him. So they have to do something with him.
We got here in the chat Jerry, who says we got to officially call it Friday Night Bloodline, because to me this is top tier storytelling. It's mostly called Friday Night Bloodline, not even because it's top tier storytelling. It's because it's so far and away better than everything else on the fucking show. Like, everything else looks very small and minute, regardless if it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's small in comparison to the level of quality of the Bloodline storyline. So that's why it's Friday Night Bloodline. Krssi Luv, being there live, how was that live experience watching the trial of Roman Reigns and everything that went down?
First of all, when I feel like since the Usos have made a change, their music hits way different now. I feel like everyone is like, they used to bop to it before, but now I think they're bopping to it with more reasoning and more like, they're like, oh, like they're loving when the Usos come out. That's one. Two, Tribal Court was great. I think it was like 34 minutes that they did this, of course. Yeah. Like on our end, it was like, you know, they'll change the screen or whatever, they'll do whatever. But for you guys, I'm sure it felt way longer than it did for us. It felt like it went like this on our end. But overall, I was like, yeah, why are we having, like, it's not so much matches happening. The girls came out within like 2 seconds. They squashed the women. AJ had one match for like, was that 2 minutes? Like some of the things that when I go to, you know, I went to the concession stand, I missed the stuff because it happened so damn fast. There's no, like, the wrestling was like gone. He was like, when you go with kids, it's like a lot, first of all. Let's just to say that, like, number one. The lines are like hella long to get merch. It's a lot of shit going on. I missed like some stuff, but I saw the main stuff. Other than that, the crowd was great, and I love that Roman answered when they would like say stuff about him. Like, yeah, me too. I know. Like he's like quick with it off the dome. Like he would like revert back to it. I was like, my God, how good is Roman Reigns? And he's like, me too. I feel like I want to understand why. I don't know. Like I get it. Like, you know. And it's so good, like the way they're doing this. And like, again, when you think of like, well, how else can we do this? Like, this is like, what more can we add to this stuff? And then they add this part. It's like what? Like, this is good. And then he had real tears coming out. I was like, whoa, Roman. I mean, the nominees for like best supporting cast, like this whole ensemble, like, you know, you got to give like the whole team something, like, send them away for like a month and a half or something. Like when this is all done, like everyone needs to be off. The whole family. I want to see the barbecue pictures. I need to see everything. I need to see everyone all meet at the Rock's house or something like that, because this is awesome stuff. Can we just give Grayson Waller some first of all, just a little bit, like he's come from, in his short time of being on the main roster, has been with like how many big people so far, and then he wrestles Edge on a Friday. Yeah. And he was just injured. I was like, how is he fighting? I thought he hurt his leg or something. Look at that. And I was like, and look, he swam. He did actually, he kept up with Edge. He did good. I mean, like, you know, Edge is, you know, he's a man of a certain age now, and he's not the, you know, but he's doing very well. Like, he's doing good, and you did well. You hung in with one of the older guys, the other guys. I can't say old guys. One of the veterans, excuse me. So, I mean, overall, great show for SmackDown. Not that many matches, but, you know, then, you know, after the show is over, they give us 2 extra matches, which we've seen on Raw already. So, you know.
There you go. But if anybody is wondering about the different pacing of the show and why we only got 3 matches, we have the latest in the McMahon session story.
How did I know
as
he
a-
had his fingers in this mess? Jesus Christ.
As a rumor was being
Right.
floated around
I
that
feel the
Nick
same way,
Khan
though.
and Triple H were planning a creative intervention meeting with Vince McMahon, but a new report has debunked that. Fightful Select reports that McMahon was backstage at last night's SmackDown, and that there was a rumor that Khan and Triple H were planning such a meeting at Monday's Raw, where they would ask McMahon to back off from his recent late changes to the shows. While sources had heard of the possibility of such a meeting, there's no word of it actually taking place, and talent on the site spoke with the site and said that such a meeting would typically happen around the middle of the week and not just before Raw, unless it was a talent meeting. Based on what Fightful has heard to date, no meeting of the sort has been planned or is planned, and a lot WWE official dismissed the notion as silly and said there was no truth to it. As the site notes, McMahon could only be asked to do so, but can't be forced given his position with the company. So Vince McMahon causing problems again, causing troubles with his late changes. I mean, I don't think all of his late changes have been bad. I think it's actually improved some stuff. And I hate to say that because I know it might sound like I'm saying something positive about Vince McMahon.
Right. Okay. Name the positives, friend. I'll wait.
I did not need to see Bailey versus Shotzi 2 weeks ago. I did not need to see it last week either. He could have cut it from last week. I would have been perfectly fine. Either way, we're never seeing that matchup. It happened last week. I already forgot what happened in the matchup last week. But yeah, I mean, Vince, he's been basically just changing like match order and stuff like that. And I think it's gone well. It's been well.
Okay.
I mean, this episode did not go well as far as the pacing. The pacing was shit.
Right.
Yeah, and I honestly thought they were gonna get cut like Dynamite for a minute. The way it was going, it was like somebody needs to tell Jay needs to get the line out because I'm like they're right on the clock. So
yeah, because
they have a hard out too.
Yeah. Fox don't play that. Nope.
Yeah. No, they got 10 o'clock news. We cutting you off at 9:57. Watch most weeks. SmackDown ends like 9:57, 9:58, so they can
on
run
the dot.
a few ads before 10 o'clock.
It's 10 a.m. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? That's the
They
main
gotta
one.
get that lineup.
They gotta get that in.
Line. WWE has announced the date and venue for this year's Survivor Series, which will happen the weekend after Thanksgiving. The show takes place on November 25th at the Allstate Arena in Chicago. SmackDown the night before. SmackDown the night before will also take place at the Allstate Arena, and there's no word on if the show will retain the War Games theme that last year's event had. Speaking of major events for WWE reportedly has 6 to 8 matches already planned thus far for WWE Summerslam. F4W Online reports that the following matches are currently planned for the show: Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar, Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch, Asuka versus Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair, Gunther versus Drew McIntyre, and Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. The report also notes that Logan Paul will have an in-ring showcase, which is presumably going to be against Ricochet, and most of these matches were alluded to in developments at Money in the Bank, such as Baszler turning on Rousey and Drew McIntyre showing up to confront Gunther. And this week's episode of SmackDown from Madison Square Garden hit a couple of live gate records for the company. PW Insider reports that the shows last night's show, which took place in Madison Square Garden, had the highest gross ever for the venue's history. In addition, the show was the highest grossing domestic SmackDown in company history as well. But talking about talking about SummerSlam coming up, Rob, how interesting, or what is the most interesting match from those matches that they say have planned, with Roman versus Jey 3, Cody versus Brock 3, Trish versus Becky 2, Asuka, Charlotte, Bianca, Gunther versus Drew, and Ronda versus Shayna?
For me, it's still going to be Roman and Jey, just because of the story. I'm hoping that this will be the end of Brock and Cody, because it should be. I mean, we're talking the night after WrestleMania when this started. Then they took about a 2-month break, or it felt like a 2-month break. So that's what I'm hoping. As far as like Asuka and Charlotte and Bianca, my only hope is that this is where Io does not cash in. I mean, she'll get a hell of a moment, but I still want Asuka versus Io. That's what we want. We've been wanting this. It'd be a hell of a match. I'm very curious to see who they have Rhea work with. If she's good to go, which I think she is. She proved it by having a hell of a match this past Monday with Natalya. There's a lot of questions I have too, like to see even the Ricochet and Logan Paul match interests me to an extent because I'm very curious to see what they do. I am also wondering what Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have planned. I don't think Imperium's the answer for them, like for a SummerSlam match. That just doesn't do anything for me. So and you got Edge, who's going to be involved with SummerSlam. I'm convinced. There's a part of me that wonders like when his contract's up, because that match kind of came out of nowhere. And the reason why I wonder if that came out of nowhere is because he doesn't know when he's going to be back in Madison Square Garden. And that's just me speculating. Yeah. That's me speculating. That's not anything. That's just me wondering. But right now it's just Roman and Jey Uso that's doing it for me right now for the main card, or for the main event.
Yeah, I'm also interested in that. I think for right now, they said the report is reading that Rhea Ripley would face Raquel Rodriguez if all of these matches stay the same. Which, I mean,
yeah, like, really, Jesus, like Lord have mercy. They really have to figure this shit out. Like, stop making Rhea like be like Dom's, backhand, when we can just make the roles be opposite, since we're gonna have to let like Dominic really like get into his role. Like, he already has the heat, but we need him to like figure out the wrestling part. So let's make the roles reverse. Give Rhea some stuff. Like, Rhea has the championship since April. She's had 3 matches?
Four now,
yeah,
which only totals 23 minutes.
I'm about to say which totaled 5 minutes. Great.
Yeah.
What is that done? That's not doing very good for Rhea's run right now.
Yeah. Well,
like
she's been hurt.
Oh.
Yeah, she's been dealing with knee issues, but she's still wrestling on house shows. So it's not like they've been resting her completely. They just been resting her on TV shows. So I think both things can be true with that in that regards. But moving on to this week's Raw, the rating was up and the show featured Brock Lesnar returning to have a quick brawl with Cody Rhodes to restart their rivalry ahead of SummerSlam, which Krssi Luv is sick of. You also had Seth Rollins defeat Dominic Mysterio in the main event via disqualification from Senior Money in the Bank Damian Priest. Post-match, it looked like Priest was going to cash in Money in the Bank, but Finn Balor came out and got involved to attack Rollins, ending the night with Balor and Priest not getting along with one another after the plan didn't go through. And you also had Rhea Ripley defeat Natalya, and finally they had an actual match and it was very good, and Rhea Ripley got the win to retain the WWE Women's World Championship. Krssi Luv, any thoughts on Rhea having her longest match since WrestleMania here, 13 minutes against Natalya?
Finally something worth from a champion. That's great. Like, this is the Rhea that we've been dying to see. Just unfortunate, like, again, I didn't know that she was nursing her knee or whatever, but still, if you're gonna have her do house shows, I mean, like, make it meaningful. It's like, she's supposed to be dominant and she's supposed to be this strong girl. Like, I need to see it. Like, like, I don't want her doing everything for Dominic. Like, I'd rather it be the reverse. You know what I'm saying? Like make her be the strong person and have her guy interfere and do everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think they should be using Dominic's heat to prop Rhea up as the top heel on the
Correct.
women instead of
Absolutely.
trying to prop Dominic up when the bell rings. They don't really care that much about him, it seems.
Yes, exactly. They won't even let him get a word in. So it's like, okay, fine. let's let him do it in the reverse. Like, you know, when a girl wants to like come in and like go after Rhea, he's standing away because he'll get punched in the face by the girl. You know, like let him get some heat from that.
It's fair.
That would actually be good.
Yeah, I'm hoping they eventually do that. Use Dominic as a heater. He's better off in a manager role than a wrestling role right now, even though he needs more experience.
Right.
He needs both. WWE will be handling the rest of their lawsuit with MLW without the help of their famed lawyer, Jerry McDevitt, who has announced his impending retirement. As has been reported, MLW is suing WWE, alleging that the company violated the Sherman Act regarding antitrust practices and more. And McDevitt told WrestleNomics that he is no longer representing WWE in the antitrust lawsuit, and that the lawyers from Paul Wise, Refinkman, Warnton, and Grayson LLP are instead taking over. The site reports that the firm filed this week to represent WWE, and McDevitt has represented Vince McMahon and WWE for decades, going all the way back to 1987. And MLW issued a cheeky response to the news, writing on Twitter, MLW just won its first retirement match. In the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer speculated that there is more than meets the eye regarding WWE switching law firms for the case. He noted that McDevitt had been slowing down over the past couple of years and is nearing retirement, and WWE believed the MLW case would go away after McDevitt wrote arguments to get it dismissed, but that didn't happen. And it noted the law firm WWE is using now is the same that they used for the merger talks with Endeavor. So Jerry McDevitt, Krssi Luv, it feels like just yesterday we were watching the steroid trial, Dark Side of the Ring episode, and now he's going to be retiring. What do you think about him dropping out of this MLW lawsuit? And doesn't that kind of hint that this MLW lawsuit is going to go pretty long, that he dropped out of this stuff?
He was like, let me just get out of here while I can. Let me just run up out of here. I don't want my fingers in this stuff when I already had my stuff in it. So let me just run, chuck my deuces and say, you know, guys, it's time for me to bow out and just take my graceful bow. I've been doing this for a long time. Let me go.
Pretty much. He's like, I'm out. A recent Fightful Select report has revealed that Tyler Breeze is still under contract with WWE. Despite not having wrestled for the company in more than 2 years, Breeze's contract is mainly attached to the Up Up Down Down brand, and one source indicates that the agreement prevents Breeze from doing any appearances with AEW, and any other restrictions or provisions are unknown at this point. Breeze has announced he's making an in-ring appearance for Prestige Wrestling in September, and sources also reported that Breeze has been at work on establishing a career outside of wrestling, engaging in projects, training other wrestlers, and investing in real estate. What do you think about WWE having a wrestler under contract that doesn't wrestle with them, Rob?
Well, I'm a Tyler Breeze mark, so I'm okay with it. No. So the thing is, if he's cool with it, I'm cool with it. You know,
right.
That's the thing. If he's cool with it, I'm cool with it. And it seems like he is. So they're letting him do like other things. And I honestly thought like he would have been perfect with Pretty Deadly, you know, just based on the things we've seen. I'm glad
that's who they missed the marks at. They don't understand like the synchrony of the things that they need to do. They just focus on the other stuff, stupid shit. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if he's cool with it, that I'm fine with it. You know, that's the thing. I'm cool with it if he's cool with it, because I'm just a big fan of his. So it's one of those things where, that's really the way I look at it. It's I actually wish he was in the ring with WWE because that's how much I liked him. I mean, there's a reason they trusted him with Jushin Thunder Liger. You know, he's good, and he has his own wrestling school with Sean Spears, and both those guys are really good. So, I mean, if anything, you could use him with a guy like Dominic Mysterio. You know, like he's a good person. I think he'd be a hell of a producer if he doesn't. Maybe it's him. He doesn't want to wrestle that much. I don't, that part I don't know. But he's somebody. He's somebody that I would want to have around for sure, if I could. But maybe he's doing what he. The thing is, we don't really know if he's happy. That's what matters the most. So.
Yeah.
And finally, news before we go to NXT very quickly. Matt Riddle, we got to say congratulations to, as his girlfriend and him are expecting their first child together. Montana posted, his girlfriend, Montana, Misha Montana posted to Twitter on Friday with a series of images announcing her pregnancy, including their sonogram. Their couple has been together since late last year, and Riddle has 3 children with former wife Lisa. They divorced in March of 2022, and so we here at THH congratulate the happy couple on the baby arriving.
Yeah, because I'm about to say, wait, hold on, when did this all happen? And I'm like, I mean, I know it can happen. I'm just saying, like, wait, we're announcing stuff, and we're okay.
Krssi was like, that math wasn't mathing for a bit.
It definitely did not. Yeah, I'm about to say, like, something is not right. Like, I'm like, I know he has children. I'm like, wait, where's the missus at? Like, okay, I know that they were.
Where's your wife?
Right. Right. There we go.
Before we go to AEW, I did want to add something to that MLW WWE case. I'm very curious to see how this goes because a lot of the things that MLW's like brought onto this doesn't seem like it's granted. I'm not a lawyer, even though I play one on Pornhub. The thing is a lot of it doesn't make sense compared to like what they're claiming. Like you have AEW that's going to the same places that WWE is. Maybe if they're talking about like at the time, you have to look at it from the perspective of, was MLW ever going to run these places? That's the way I look at it. That's the other thing. So I'm very curious to see how this lawsuit goes. Because I mean, it's one thing to get it to continue, but I don't know.
Don't be out here fronting MLW, basically.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this goes for him.
WWE NXT is the last show from WWE we have to talk about. The Dyad defeated the Creeds thanks to interference from a masked man to force Julius and Brodus to leave NXT and the loser leave NXT matchup. You also had Mustafa Ali defeat Tyler Bate in a fun bout. Blair Davenport beat Roxanne Perez in a pretty good opener. We had Baron Corbin burning his old gimmicks and says that he's going to be him without no bullshit now. And we had a huge brawl breakout between Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov to close the show. And on the note of the loser leaves NXT matchup, there was a report following up on this from Dave Meltzer saying that the Creeds look to be a main roster bound earlier this week, or at least that's perhaps what WWE wants all of us to believe. Wrestling Observer newsletter said that sources within WWE have instead suggested their NXT departure for the Creeds is little more than an angle, and that they will actually remain on Tuesday nights for the time being, while others have said WWE hasn't even made a decision as of yet. Meltzer wrote in the newsletter regarding the Creeds, if you watch WWE TV, the conclusion you would come to is they are heading to the main roster, but without Ivy now after losing the loser leaves town match. I would figure that's the case, but one person very close to the situation was outright told that it's an angle and they will be back, and this could be real or it could be those in charge at NXT telling people a story because of the idea they wanted to keep it a secret, but I'm not sure why you'd bother with the loser leave town match already taking place. Yep. Another person who would be in a situation where they should know said the final decision hasn't been made, and this follows Meltzer reporting that WWE was very high on Julius Creed. So I don't know. Do you think that the Creeds are going to get called up to the main roster, let's see, before the end of 2023, Miss Krssi Luv?
I assume that they would be called to the main roster, but then again, like, what are we doing with the tag team division in the main roster right now, to be honest? Like, I mean, we have Kevin Owens and Sammy, like, with both belts. Like, I figured they would have, like, separated them by now at least, but, you know, that hasn't happened. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they are doing to prolong these things. I mean, if they're going to keep them in the angle, then sure, keep them there. I don't know. We'll see.
What about you, Rob? Or how high are you on the prospects of the Creeds on the main roster?
I would be fine with it, but I also very curious to see what they do with Ivy Nile. I like those three together. So
Same.
And as Frantic said just in the chat, I honestly thought Grizzled Young Veterans were going to lose because they requested their release. So that was what was weird to me.
Them, yes.
The other thing too I want to bring up is I think NXT should just record all their shows because this was a taping, and when they tape their shows, they're so much better. I don't understand how that is lately. So I've just noticed a trend. I don't know. But yeah, that's I think the Creed would be great in whatever they do if they keep them. I think it is a little ridiculous to have a loser leaves town match if you're gonna keep them there. Why not just why not just come up with something else? Like I don't they
don't have nothing else. That's the problem. They do it the day of, and they just do. It's like bingo. I don't know if you ever heard me do my bingo analysis, but it's like we're gonna come the night the day of, and we're gonna like, oh, B5. What's B5 on the chart? Oh, the loser leaves. Like, it's just stupidness. Like, they just can't figure this shit out. Like they don't know what they're doing. It's like we've all got like children running this show.
Well,
and this is supposed to be a company that's been here for like how many decades now?
Nope.
You would think they've got this by now.
They can't determine all that. That's too much work. But
you got a guy that helps run the show with Shawn Michaels that thinks he's better than Bret Hart wrestling, so they don't really know much.
This is also true. There. But that brings us to a close on all the WWE from this past week. So we got to thank Rob Wilkins for joining us this week to talk about WWE and everything else from Money in the Bank to now. Thank you, as always, Rob, for joining us. And please let the people know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on, coexisting, and everywhere else.
You can find me at Rob Wilkins on Twitter. I am on Instagram at Fight4Rob. I would tell you on that new threads, whatever it is, but I already forgot my username on that, so that's good. I am on Coexisting every Friday at 3:00 with Maggie on Fightful Overbooked. We have a great time. It's always a good time. Tonight, I'm actually going to be doing a watch along with AEW Collision. We're going to do Samoa Joe and CM Punk around 6:30. I think we're going to watch one of the first Impact match, or not Impact, first Ring of Honor matches that they've had. So we're going to have fun doing that. As far as that Pornhub joke, I'm not on there, so don't go looking for me. Because if you do a search, you're going to find something completely different, and I'm not responsible for that.
So don't search Lawyer Rob.
Yeah, don't, because I can't. I've never done that. So you might see something else, and I can't. I don't know. I just don't recommend it. So, as somebody who's done those kind of searches, don't do it. So, anyways,
wise beyond your years.
I'm the other wise man. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you so much for having me. You guys have a great rest of your show, and thank you again. Anytime.
Bye, Rob.
So, bye.
You already know, Rob. Thanks, buddy.
See ya.
And we're going to move on to some AEW talk. So we're bringing in another very special guest and another familiar face here on the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. He's been on here many of times, been on our pay-per-view reviews, most notably for WrestleMania this year. You hear him over on the NWA podcast, over on Post Wrestling. He does work for WrestleNomics. He is Professor Kris Ely. What's going on, Kris?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Do y'all hear me? Don't you?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I've been having internet issues all morning, so yeah, man. I guess it's before I got on here, I was speed watching the Friday show. What the hell is it? Rampage. Yeah. So I'm versed in talking about that.
You did more than me. I didn't even get to see it. Sorry.
Look at this. Yeah, she was at Madison Square Garden having a good old time. So
Yeah.
she was too busy last night, but she did see Wednesday. So let's talk about AEW Dynamite from this past week. The show did 855,000 viewers, and the show featured Kenny Omega defeating Wheeler Yuta in a great main event matchup. His first match since Forbidden Door against Will Ospreay. Post-match, the Blackpool Combat Club joined Omega until the Elite made the save. Dark Order stopped the Elite from attacking the BCC to end the show. You also had Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy beat the reunited Swerve in Our Glory, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee in an awesome tag team opener to advance in the Blind Eliminator tournament. Speaking of the Blind Eliminator, you had footage of MJF and Adam Cole bonding at the gym before they beat Matt Menard and the Butcher to advance in the tournament. Then MJF threw Adam Cole a birthday party where he attempted to put his face in cake, but he wound up having the face in his cake at the end, with Adam Cole thanking him and calling him his friend. So they are bonding more and more every week. You also had Ruby Soho defeated Dr. Britt Baker DMD to advance in the Owen Hart Women's Tournament. And you had Don Callis offer Chris Jericho a spot in his family, as Chris Jericho said he wanted to make some changes after his loss to Sting 2 weeks ago. Professor Kris, what was your highlight, your low light from this week's Dynamite?
My highlight from this week's Dynamite was the crowd, because they were in Hamilton a week earlier, right? Was it Hamilton, Ontario?
Yeah, they were in Hamilton the week prior, yeah.
And that crowd was just, they were putting me to sleep. So the Edmonton crowd was way better. I really appreciated that. I thought the show was better overall than last week's show as well. There wasn't a lot that I thought like really moved stories, but it's like just an episodic TV. Not every episode of Succession is going to be an A-list episode, right? There are going to be episodes where you're just going to move to the next big episode. So I didn't mind that episode. I'm trying to think of a highlight for me, like the one highlight. I am intrigued. I don't know if I call this a highlight. I'm intrigued by Jericho joining Don West's family. I think Jericho,
Don Callis.
Don Callis is not God.
R.I.P. Don West.
Yeah.
I know who he was talking about, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But I think with Jericho, I don't think creatively he's been hitting that much, right? I do think with Don Callis, there might be a possibility for him to do more. And I also want to, I can separate the nonsense Jericho does off of wrestling with who he is on wrestling. And I do think Jericho is a GOAT as far as wrestling is concerned. It's just in AEW, he hasn't really been everything he's done has just been kind of, I don't know, stupid. But I'm intrigued by this at least. But maybe as we converse more on this issue, I can think of an actual real highlight.
Well, my highlight was Adam Cole and MJF.
Mine too. That was great.
That was gold. The gym segment, them during the promo segment. I enjoyed the Keith Lee being spotlighted.
Yes,
that tag team opener too.
That's my highlight. The Keith Lee stuff.
And he has his black hair back.
Yes,
yeah. Can we talk about that?
You know what? I'm almost. I have mixed feelings about him having the black hair back. I understand cosmetically it looks better, but I also feel like he's kind of caving into the system that tells you it's a bad thing to have gray hair. You know? So but I understand cosmetically he definitely does look way younger. But if he doesn't get at least one world title in one of the companies, then that's a travesty. I love that slap spot with Orange where he just does his little wimpy kicks to him, and then Keith Lee just looks at him and just bangs his chest. Oh, that was hilarious, man.
Yeah, I feel like aesthetic wise, more so the gray hair could have worked if his outfit choices were different.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's where it fell short because they had him in a cape, and then they just didn't know what to do with it. Like he was a wizard or some shit like that. Like make it make sense. Like you're a man. Your hair is gonna turn a certain color. We get all of that. But I think aesthetic wise, if he was the same Keith Lee before, the hair wouldn't have been a problem. So now we have to revert back to what you already know and that he can do. Then just go bald, sir.
They didn't even really explain it either, right?
No, they didn't.
Like gray hair one day.
They should have just had him like cut a promo like you did in the interviews, like
right.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about big news because, like I said, Kenny Omega beat Wheeler Yuta in the main event, which was somewhat of a preview to Blood and Guts. And everybody's been asking who are going to be the fifth men in the Blood and Guts matchups in 2 weeks. And now we have a clue of who's going to join up with the Elite, as according to a report by Fightful Select, former NJPW star and IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Kota Ibushi is coming to All Elite Wrestling.
Oh my
Multiple
God.
talents have said to be of the belief that Ibushi is joining the company in some capacity, and he will be specifically be working the Blood and Guts show later this month in Boston. Fightful Select also reports that the management for Ibushi has reduced his media obligations due to his schedule picking up in the near future. Also, a source who is close to Ibushi in Japan said that the star is planning to be working an upcoming AEW show. He has not wrestled since working GCW's The Collective during WrestleMania weekend, and as previously noted, he was announced for an upcoming GLEAT show in Japan scheduled for August 5th. It will be his first match in Japan since October of 2021. Fightful Select also notes that some wrestlers who have worked in both NJPW and AEW wondered previously if any potential Ibushi involvement with AEW could potentially strain the company's working relationship with NJPW, but Ibushi had a falling out with NJPW leading to his exit from the company. However, Ibushi later stated that his past issues have been resolved and that New Japan offered him a new contract earlier in May. AEW has yet to make it official that Ibushi is working for the promotion or the Blood and Guts match, and Fightful has confirmed that conversations have taken place between the international star and All Elite Wrestling, and most of the talent that they spoke to this week are of the belief that he would be joining the company in some capacity, specifically for the Blood and Guts show. And there is some talent that worked for both companies that are interested to see how Ibushi will play into into the ongoing Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club storyline if he is a part of the Elite team at Blood and Guts. But what do you think, Kris, about Kota Ibushi joining up with AEW, and do you think this is a good spot for his debut with the company?
I think it's a good spot for his debut with the company. With AEW, for me, it's kind of always like a wait and see approach, especially with the New Japan guys, because they don't always get it right. They don't always get it wrong either. It just seems like a lot of times those guys are just there. So I would like to see, them do something fruitful with those guys, and I think it's great, man. I think how could I complain about this, man? I can't complain about this at all. I got nothing negative to say.
I'm looking forward to it. So if Ibushi is the 5th person on the Elite team, who do you think should be the 5th person on the Blackpool Combat Club team, Miss Krssi Luv? Because I think I said it last week, and I've only affirmed it after watching this week. It needs to be Don Callis. It needs to be Don Callis more than anything. But you also got Chris Jericho, who could be filling that spot. Someone else who has been enemies with the Elite, maybe someone from the Dark Order. But who do you think right now should be that 5th member of BCC at Blood and Guts, Krssi?
Don Callis is like your obvious choice, of course. I don't know who else I would put in there. Excuse me, sorry. Mm-hmm. I think Don is the obvious choice, but my boo Will is just too busy right now. I mean, so
got the G1. He got to deal with the G1.
He's dealing with the G1. Mm-hmm. He's over on the other side of the world. Like he doesn't have time for these people right now. He'll come back when he's ready.
He nearly got away with murder last week.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
In the middle of a ring.
He
disrespected a country. He did a lot of harm in Canada.
So I think Don will be the most obvious choice, of course. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad at Chris Jericho, teaming up with them and saying, "Hey, we have a common enemy. Let's work together for right now." So either one of the two would be great.
That makes sense. Fightful Select reports that Colt Cabana is working for All Elite Wrestling again and was backstage at this week's Dynamite in Edmonton, Alberta. Cabana had been absent from AEW for 7 months, last appearing on the show during a November episode of Dynamite. He had also appeared regularly for Ring of Honor with his most recent match in April. Cabana is working as a producer and a coach for AEW, and it's unknown which matches he was involved with. Cabana has been missing for the most part since All Out, when CM Punk ranted about him during a post-show press conference, and Punk is currently working for Collision. It's unknown if Cabana is back permanently, but it seems that way. But someone who will be here permanently after next week is Nick Wayne. As announced on Dynamite, pro wrestling prodigy Nick Wayne will make his long-awaited debut for All Elite Wrestling on next Wednesday's episode of Dynamite. The 18-year-old is the son of pro wrestling legend Buddy Wayne, and they introduce Wayne with a vignette narrated by Darby Allin about his relationship with Nick and the Wayne family being a trainee of Buddy. And Wayne will face Swerve Strickland on this Wednesday's episode of Dynamite. What do you think about Nick Wayne being brought in, finally debuting at 18 years old, Professor Kris? And what do you think about his upcoming matchup with Swerve Strickland? And who do you think should win? Because Swerve Strickland, I think, is probably the most popular answer to people who need a win in AEW.
Yes.
So the fact that he's versing this new 18-year-old kid, this might be the loss that breaks the camel's back if he loses.
This is some BS. He's like Finn. You got to stop letting these boys lose. This is ridiculous. I'm sick of this shit. Seriously, this is fucking. This is sorry.
That's cool. I'm sorry. This would be very bad for the culture. If Swerve lost to Nick Wayne, and I like Nick Wayne, but I don't think that Swerve needs to be served up to an 18-year-old at this point in the game. Swerve needs to be in the world title conversation. He needs to be upgraded from the bullshit he was doing like towards the very end of his NXT run, where they just where you could kind of tell they had moved on from Hit Row and stuff like that. Like the beginning of the SmackDown run. He needs to be upgraded, and I just don't feel that with these losses, the fact that there's just too many of them. It's not even like it's like a loss here, a win there. It's like this guy is on a losing streak. Streak
with a capital S.
Yeah, this is probably out of AEW the thing that I get the most complaints about. All my WWE friends my black WWE friends who ride with WWE and all this other stuff and hate AEW. I'm getting, DM'd and tweeted like, yo, you see how your boy TK's doing, dude, it's like I'm getting like I'm the one responsible for this shit. But yeah, man, it's dumb. Nick Wayne is going to be a star. He's gonna he's gonna do great things in wrestling. I really don't even like this as his first match. Why is he not beating QT Marshall? Why? But maybe they're going somewhere with it. I don't know, but I just
well, this is the guy that knows working with him, opposite him the most. Him and Swerve have that long rivalry in Defy with one another, and Swerve said that he would be his first matchup. And I think if it's a long competitive match and Nick Wayne, like he has the Darby debut of he doesn't win, but he forces it to a draw. I think that does a lot for him, and you can build a longer rivalry with Swerve and Nick Wayne in that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll defer to you. I don't even want him having a draw with this kid yet. I think he should beat him. He should pin him in the middle of the ring, and that's how it should go. I understand all that backstory, and I do think there's merit to it, but it's just with the like succession of losses this dude has taken that makes me like not completely happy with them going this direction, and I wouldn't be surprised even a little if Swerve lost. And I guess that's my problem with the setup of this whole thing.
This is true. That's the one bad thing with this whole scenario right here. But last Saturday, you had AEW Collision. It did not do very well, CM Punk fans, including our producer, as they went down in the ratings again, 452,000 viewers. The show featured Samoa Joe defeating Roderick Strong in a hard-hitting main event. Post-match, Joe laid out Roderick Strong with an emerald flosion on a steel chair to send a message to CM Punk as Roderick Strong was stretchered out the building. You also had Powerhouse Hobbs beat Dustin Rhodes in a bloody matchup to advance in the Owen Hart Cup men's tournament, and Ricky Starks defeated Juice Robinson to advance in the tournament as well. You had the Guns officially make themselves part of Bullet Club Gold. You had Chris Statlander beat Lady Frost to retain the TBS championship, and MJF MJF beat a jobber, Kip Morse, and then got on the mic and challenged anyone from Hamilton, Ontario to face him for the AEW World Championship. Out came Ethan Page to answer the challenge, and after a great spirited promo about MJF being a minimum wage bitch, he fought him in a good effort, but came up short, losing to MJF as he retained the AEW World Championship. Any comments on week 3 of Collision? And I'll ask you, Kris, what do you think Collision needs to do to kind of raise the viewership and make it a must-watch show moving forward?
I don't know if there's much they can do for a Saturday night show like that.
Right.
I do think they just they like Samoa Joe and Punk. I'm very interested in that match tonight. I think they just got to keep doing good shows, you know. I do think there's gonna come a time where TK is gonna have to be like, I know he doesn't want to compete directly with the NFL. Those Thursday night games are garbage, though. I mean, maybe ask whoever's in charge at Turner if you could get that Thursday night slot or something. Because the thing with Saturday night is you're not just competing with what's on TV. You're competing with the club. You're competing
I said this.
Yeah, you're competing with, like, you know, family time. You know, men and women, they're working during the week, and Saturday is usually when they chill. Is not all right for fighting with them. I think that
true. He's not lying, though.
they're gonna have. I think they'll even get 1 million viewers every once in a while. It's just not gonna be consistent.
Yep.
Yeah, and then when the WWE, whatever they call their bullshit now, when they do their
premium live events,
those things. Thank you. I don't think I'm ever gonna get. I'm from the I'm 90s kid. I'm not gonna ever get used to PLEs, but I digress. I think that those shows where they're competing with WWE and UFC, they need to make those shows great. Just because the ratings are low one week doesn't mean you give up on the show. It means you just make it must-watch TV. Like tomorrow night, I honestly, in their first match, I think I would have Samoa Joe beat CM Punk. And then in England, have CM Punk finally beat Samoa Joe, just so you can have people talking about what they missed on Saturday night. And Saturday night, that match has to be a banger. Tonight, I don't think anything less is gonna cut it. I think it's got to be a banger. I think it's got to be from bell to bell. Good. I think these guys got to channel 20 years ago, find some way to do it. They're not going to be able to be as rough and tumble as they were back then, but, find a way to make this match special and people talking about it, right? And I think they're going to be fine on Saturday night. I just think that as viewers, we have to realistically assess the situation and realistically understand that they're gonna have nights like this on Saturday night. It's just gonna happen because there's just way too much going on Saturday night nowadays.
It's summertime. No one told you to premiere in the peak of summer. This is like a real official summer. Everyone is outside now.
Well, if they debuted it any other time, they got to deal with sports. They got to deal with basketball.
Krssi, I do think David Zasloff told them they need to do this on Saturday. I don't think they had.
That's fine. You could do it on a Saturday. All I'm saying is you've made all these valid points. everyone cannot watch this. I missed last week because I was at an event and I could not watch it at that said event. So, you know, it's like you're not going to get the consistent numbers that you want because, again, things happen. People don't have access to watch these things like on their phones or whatever. So you have to wait, and then I don't have an option to replay it because you don't have any fucking streaming areas yet. So then that's like, whose fault is that? I can't give you the ratings that you want because it's not there for me to watch it. So I have to watch it on YouTube and watch highlights from other people's channels or watch our channel and just get predictions from that. Like, but again, it's like you had to premiere in the summertime. Great. You might get more viewership in the wintertime. I don't know. I can't call it because you're on a Wednesday. You don't really need Friday, so you should put it back on a Friday. Like, it's just too much shit happening.
No, Friday is suffering a slow death itself. And Frantic World, I know I pretty much told you this before, but I'll say it again. That's the worst idea. That's worse than being on Saturday. He says put AEW Collision on Friday nights at 8 o'clock and move Rampage on Saturday. No, being at 8 o'clock on Friday, they would get demolished against Fox. Fox is a network. That means that more people have access to Fox than any cable program. It's not the point of Rampage being on at 10 o'clock because it gets less ratings at 7 o'clock. To that time, it's about the fact that they just stopped caring about Rampage. If they had put in the same care they put for Rampage when it first started kept it consistent for the 2 years that it's been on, then maybe they would have more solid ratings on Friday.
Make that show ROH. Don't make Friday ROH. Just play it plain ROH TV show and just call it a freaking day.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Krssi. And the thing with that too, doing all the best in politics, they call it the spoiler effect, where you have a third party candidate who's never going to beat the Democrat or the Republican, but what they can do is their best hope is maybe siphoning votes from the Democrat or the Republican. And I think that's AEW if they move to 8 o'clock. They're on Fox. The math just doesn't exist for it. This is fact. This isn't like an opinion. This is you can't put them on 8 o'clock on Friday night and expect them to compete with the ratings. The best they'll be able to do is pull some viewers away from SmackDown, but it's not going to be
the same. Nope, it's not going to be enough.
It won't be enough to matter. They gotta keep on. AEW is not in a position to compete directly head to head with WWE. And to be realistic, WCW wasn't that in that position either. They were in that position for the short term. Long term, they had no plans after that. You know what I'm saying? So these people that think that you're just gonna magically, and I'm an AEW head. I like it better than WWE, but I'm also realistic.
Exactly.
I also have a 9th grade education. This is you can't. The math is not there. It is not.
The math ain't mathin'. Once again. And if you like Collision on Saturdays, if you're different from Krssi Luv and you like it being on Saturdays, don't worry. You're in luck.
I did not say I did not like it on Saturday. I said it does not make sense for people with social lives like me. Just plain simple.
If you're in luck, if you do like it, you get an extra hour next week. PW Insider reports that
it's 3 hours.
AEW Battle of the Belts is scheduled for next Saturday, July 15th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT, following that night's edition of AEW Collision. AEW Collision on July 15th is being held at the Saddle Dome in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Collision that night will be a live broadcast for TNT, and AEW has not yet announced the lineup and details for Battle of the Belts. Tony Khan stated last month that Battle of the Belts would continue this year on TNT, and we have follow-up news in regards to Forbidden Door. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Forbidden Door increased 15% in TV pay-per-view buys in its second week, around the normal level for AEW events. The second week buys were down 8.4% from Double or Nothing and down 11.4% from that pay-per-view on TV buys, and it was up 5% in streaming. The US number for both events as well as the international will be about the same. It will, however, end up beating Double or Nothing overall thanks to Japan buys, and compared to last year's Forbidden Door, this event is down 7.6% in TV pay-per-view buys, with more buys from streaming and less on TV. But Battle of the Belts coming back next week for AEW. Should this be the end of Battle of the Belts after this year? Because that's how I kind of feel. I kind of feel they never fulfilled what they said this was going to be. So this is one thing that I will say. They should just cut it. They should just cut it.
Yeah. Yeah, the price is way too high. You need to cut it. Yeah. I agree.
I love it, Kris.
Battle of the Belts is a waste of time. When they first presented it, I thought it was going to be something like a Saturday night's main event or a Clash of the Champions. Because when I remember when Clash of the Champions used to come on and how big of a deal it was, it felt like something special. Battle of the Belts, it feels like a throwaway show that they're putting on to make WBD people happy. It doesn't seem like anybody wants to be there. Every once in a while, they'll have a title change there. It'll be like a what?
They've actually only had one title change on Battle of the
Belts. So every once then. Sorry, take me a while out of there. Was it Cody Rhodes and Sammy Guevara was the title?
No, it was Sammy Guevara beating Scorpio Sky for the TNT champion.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. It's a worthless special, man. And I think you could do a special if you take away the gimmick of Battle of the Belts. I think it's if you just do something where it's like cool, where AEW needs to do more shows where you feel like when you miss it, you feel like, my God, I missed that. I could have, I could have sacrificed going to the Cheesecake Factory with my wife this one time. I would have rather have been home watching this, and I don't think they've done a great job of that with these Battle of the Belts specials. They are so worthless, such a waste of time. Like you could literally be doing anything else and it'll be more fulfilling, right? You could be crocheting, you could be taking ballroom dancing lessons. You could be doing anything.
You can crochet and watch wrestling at the same time, friend.
He's like, I would have recommended.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it.
But I'm just, you need get rid of Battle of the Belts. I'm with you on that, SP.
He's just basically just saying, like, listen, guys, like let's use our resources and just come up with a different type of show. Let's put our funds or like time into like invest in certain things, like maybe something for ROH or like, something that's more meaningful, like for the things that we already have going on.
Yeah, something, yeah.
Makes sense. AEW Rampage, they had their 100th episode last night. The show featured Dark Order defeating the Elite in another awesome trios match, this time thanks to a low blow and interference from Claudio Castagnoli and Konosuke Takeshita before Kenny Omega came out for the save. You also had Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia defeated Matt Hardy and Jeff Jarrett, not Jeff Hardy, I was about to say it, to advance in the blind eliminator tournament, while Big Bill and Brian Cage beat Trent Beretta and Matt Sydal in the main event to advance in the tournament as well. You're gonna
look at him all in the air. Like, that's great.
You're gonna have Garcia and Guevara versus Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy on Wednesday's Dynamite, and it's gonna be Brian Cage and Big Bill versus Adam Cole and MJF in the blind eliminator tournament. According to reporter Pat Lapre, AEW is set to make its debut in Montreal this December at the Bell Arena. This is the venue that hosted this year's WWE Elimination Chamber event, and the report notes that the dates are December 5th and 6th, which are Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday would be the usual live Dynamite and Rampage taping, and Tuesday would be a taping for Collision and ROH. So it seems like Collision taping is once again not going to be on a Saturday that week. Fightful Select.
And I think that's where you're doing the disservice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll get into that. Fightful Select reports that longtime AEW wrestler Diamante has received a contract upgrade in AEW and has finally received a full-time deal. Per the report, while Diamante has been part of the AEW roster since January 2020, she's been working under a Tier 0 deal until recently. She's now had her deal upgraded to from Tier 0 to a full-time contract, and the new contract deal has reportedly put her on the official roster page, but while she hasn't wrestled on an AEW match since March edition of AEW Dark, she's been working ROH TV, and ROH is of course owned by Tony Khan. And Fightful noted that after first joining AEW in January 2020, and when asking sources if she was signed to a full-time deal, it was later confirmed that Diamante is working under a type of deal, but not the All Elite graphic level deal that many other wrestlers were working under, and it looks like that has now changed. But as usual, Krssi, with one person out of AEW or one person in AEW, one person has to go out, and it is one of the first members of the Mogul affiliates.
Oh, wow. I mean,
Trench.
he didn't do nothing, but okay.
Trench is gone, as PW Insider reports that Trench exited the company at the start of the month. The exit was the result of the real name Graydon Gottman's deal with AEW expiring. Trench debuted in December of last year as the mystery man who helped the newly formed Mogul affiliates attack Keith Lee. He was reportedly no, that was the other one.
Got it. Okay.
He was reportedly dealing with an injury since March and is no longer on AEW's roster page. So some roster turnover from AEW, but you're saying AEW is doing the disservice by taping Collision, but they have no power with that. It's part of like the deals they have with these buildings.
Okay.
That it costs to run back to back, then run it later in the week.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have to do back-to-back tapings. Okay.
Like for the Canada shows, that's just how it's got to go sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, especially with how Canada goes with their stuff. And AEW is more of like a newer. And I remember back in the day, I don't know if everybody else remember, but AEW Dynamite during the pandemic that were taped were always the better editions of Dynamite.
That's true.
So taping a show doesn't automatically mean it's not going to be good. It's what they do with it.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And I agree.
But that is all for AEW this week. I want to thank Professor Kris for joining us this week. As always, one of our favorites. You pretty much have the record for most guest spots on the flagship show. So we appreciate you for that. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on, NWA Podcast, and everywhere else, sir.
All right, so tomorrow we're doing Kings of Sport podcast, so look for that. I'm just writing too many things at once, so I'm trying to hone in on one thing. I've got a book that I'm writing, and then I'm also working on like a wrestling article and a political science article. So just it'll be there. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Spill. Spill is this new platform that's for the culture that just came out. So if you got time, and then I'm on the Instagram shit too. What's it called? Threads or whatever. So yeah. And if you try to follow me, my Instagram is private. So if you follow me on Instagram, tell me who you are, because I just don't like, a lot of folks, we don't know each other like that to be Instagram, and so that's my private area. But like I said, if you tell me who you are, we can do that. All right. And thanks again for having me this week, and I appreciate being here. And yeah.
Always appreciate having you on the show, good brother. And of course, enjoy the rest of your weekend, sir.
All right, thanks, y'all. Peace,
brother. That was Professor Kris. Definitely go out of your way and follow him on all the platforms. Check out the NWA podcast as well. We got a couple of comments here I wanted to feature. We got Ninja Mortis, who says, if there was care put into the show, would 7 p.m. be better than 10 p.m.? Talking about AEW Rampage. Friday is a tough sell. I feel like Friday primetime is a tougher sell than Saturday primetime.
Yeah, I think both days are really, really not the easiest of days, to be honest.
Yeah, that's also true. That's very true.
That's just what it is. I think both days are just really, really hard. And it's at the end of the week. It's the weekend. Like, it's just a really hard sell for both time slots and days. It's just, I don't think it is a win-win at all.
Yeah. We also got Ninja Mortis, who says, should they have led into Rampage like a Friday at 7 p.m. show? As we've seen from the different times that the show has been changed by the time, it does not matter. That actually affects it more. Yeah, that actually takes more viewers away. There's more viewers that are used to it being at Friday at 10 p.m. that when you move it to 7 p.m., it never does well. So
yeah. And then I think when you change it, also people forget, like myself, I'm one of those people I was like, oh crap, I go for 10 and it came on already. You done missed it. Like, what happened? So I think it's definitely something where you're just like, oh crap.
You just miss out on it sometimes. But moving on, a couple of just final few shows that we missed this week. You had Stardom had their Mid Summer Champions event. The show featured Mirai defeating Tam Nakano in a terrific encounter to win the Wonder of Stardom Championship. You also had Rose Gold of Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May beat God's Eye to retain the Goddess of Stardom Championship. Saki Kashishima defeated Fukin Def to retain the High Speed Championship. Post-match, Oedo Tai made the Oedo Tai jumped Kashishima, and then eventually, and then eventually Kashishima basically got the save from God's Eye, and God's Eye gave her an invitation to join their group. And Sari Ano defeated Natsupoi in a hard-hitting Indian strap match main event. So that was a
strap match.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
They beat the crap out of each other. Definitely a match
Got
worth
it,
going out of your way to see.
Okay. All right. Sure.
But good
gonna do
stuff
that.
all the way around from Stardom, back-to-back pay-per-views last week and then this week. And like I said, new champion with the Wonder of Stardom with Mirai. So that was the big matchup to watch from that show and the big news from that show. But wasn't the only news from Japanese professional wrestling this week, as New Japan Pro Wrestling had their strong Independence Day shows. Day one featured Bullet Club War Dogs standing tall as Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney defeated Catch 2-2 in a tremendous match to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, while Alex Coughlin and Gabe Kidd defeated Bishamon to win the NJPW Strong Tag Team Championships. You also had Tom Lawler beat Kosei Fujita in a surprisingly great matchup. El Desperado and Jun Kasai defeated Homicide and John Moxley in an insane Doomsday no DQ tag team main event. What did you think about that picture of John Moxley with the skews coming out of his head?
I was just like, really, John? Real like, what did we do? Of all things to do, like we're doing this, like, and I know he's gonna bleed, he's gonna do all these things. I'm like, John, we gotta like take these things a little bit like. I don't know. I'm like, why are we having these skewers in your head? Like those are shish kebab skewers. I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Oh, John.
I just can't believe the people who use the picture to be like, oh man, that's a downfall of John Moxley going from Dean Ambrose to this. He's having the time of his life.
That's what I'm saying. He's been having this time for like the last 4 years. He's great. Like, this is what he wanted. This was more than the money. He wanted to wrestle and do these type of matches. We've been saying this from day one, from when he said, I don't need the contract. I don't want to see it because there's nothing that's going to keep me here. I want to go. Let me go.
Very true. Day two had new champions being crowned for the strong titles as finally, Krssi, Eddie Kingston won championship gold as he defeated Kenta to win the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship. Meanwhile, unfortunately, you had one person win that you wanted to win. One person had to lose, as Willow Nightingale lost the NJPW Strong Women's Championship to Julia in a good, hard-hitting matchup there as well.
I think it's Julia. For Willow to lose, I think it's to Julia for sure, because Julia is deserving of this. Like, again, Willow was an audible. Willow wasn't even supposed to get this belt. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are people that wasn't even supposed to like be in these like positions. But look what happened, and she turned it out, and she was great. And you know, Julia will probably do the same thing, which is something great. I'm excited to see what happened with Julia. But my God, those ladies.
But I'm just rubbing my hands. That means we're getting Julia versus Mercedes Moné before the end of the year. And yes,
hopefully,
yes, it's gonna happen, ladies and gentlemen.
Hopefully so. Like, you know, Mercedes gets herself ready and, you know, gets it together. But yes, I mean, I just want to see. I don't care who Mercedes fights as long as she's fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like, her and Trinity just need to fight. I don't care.
You also had Bullet Club War Dogs. They got a win via Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney over Yo and Rocky Romero in another great matchup to retain the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. You also had the War Dogs come up short on their bid to get complete tag team supremacy as Bishamon beat Coughlin and Kidd to retain the IWGP Tag Team Championships. And in the main event of night two, you had John Moxley defeating El Desperado in a brutal, bloody final death match.
With the skills again.
Yes, and barbed wire. A lot of barbed wire, ladies
like
and
what,
gentlemen.
John, I'm telling you, Renee was she had so much shit to tell him when he came home. I'm telling you.
John, what are you doing to me? What are you doing out? I'm never letting you go to Japan again.
Right. I let you go to Japan just one weekend, and this is what you do.
You start acting a fool. Safed saying John Moxley is having fun in Japan and
He's
in
still having a hot
AEW.
girl summer. Like, he is enjoying himself. He's enjoying being a wrestler. This is what he loves. And like, you could see it on his face. I don't give a damn what anyone says. They are all liars. Because they're marked for WWE. They just want him to go back. That's all. They want him to be the slave that he was over there.
You know, we also got Frantic World who says congrats to BC War Dogs, Eddie Kingston and Julia, a bunch of new champions from the Independence Day shows there. We got Safed who says, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for Julia versus Mercedes match. Yes. Injected in my veins. It's coming, y'all. New Japan news. New Japan officially put out a statement last week where they nicknamed Ren Narita, Shota Umino, and Yota Tsuji the Riwa Three Amigos. The name was chosen due to the rise of the three young stars, and the company has used the nickname twice before. In 1988, Masahiro Shono, Shiriari Hashimoto, and Kenji Muta were the three musketeers of fighting spirit. In 2004, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Katsuyori Shibata were the new three musketeers, and now we have the newest edition, the third edition, with Shota Umino, Ren Narita, and Yota Tsuji. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports the nickname has been heavily criticized by the fans as well as some wrestlers themselves, and there's no word on why the name was suggested, whether it came from Gato or someone in corporate. Do you think that that's too much responsibility and too much pressure on these three young stars to be given this nickname that has such a history and legacy to it, Krssi?
Yeah, because like, what if it doesn't go right with the fans and they don't do well? Like give them a chance first before, you know. I guess it means sink or swim.
Yeah. Pretty much. They were like, we're going to throw you into the deep end. You got to learn how to swim. I don't know how it's gonna work, but we'll see. And it's a big test for that is in the G1, which is about to start next weekend. New Japan Pro Wrestling has also officially announced next year's Wrestle Kingdom 18 event, which happens on January 4th in the Tokyo Dome. And this is the logo right here for Wrestle Kingdom. Of course, one of the biggest events of the year, every single year for New Japan Pro Wrestling and in wrestling in general. You had ROH TV on Honor Club this week. The show featured the return of Layla Hirsch as she teamed up with the Kingdom to defeat the Infantry and Trish Adora in the main event. Commander beat Gringo Loco in a fun opener. You had Daniel Garcia beat Christopher Daniels. Brian Cage defeated Willie Mack, Shane Taylor, Danton Castle, Josh Woods, and Trent Seven in a six-way mayhem matchup. Mark Briscoe beat JD Drake and Tony Nese to win a good three-way matchup. Post-match, a promo was played from Eddie Kingston in Japan, who endorsed Mark Briscoe as the next challenger for Claudio Castagnoli's ROH World Championship.
So petty.
And Briscoe agreed, and the match was made official after Claudio tried to intimidate Briscoe and accused him of changing from the Mark Briscoe he used to know, who wanted to stand side by side with his brother and now wants to try to follow in his brother's footsteps. And this will be the main event of ROH Death Before Dishonor on Friday, July 21st. So what do you think about Mark Briscoe getting the big shot? And do you think he has a chance to win the big one at Death Before Dishonor?
I think this is great for him. I'm happy that he's been showcased on TV a lot more since the whole incident happened. Like, he's been out there, like, even like when he's doing like the little like dumb stuff with like Jeff Jarrett and all of them, like it's still like being showcased and still like having him work. I guess like making them work like keeps their mind off like being sad, and like, you know, they're still never going to forget, but it keeps them like to keep, you know, moving on and keep like building up to get, you know, better and better as it never gets easy, put it like that. Will he win? I wouldn't be mad at it. I'm not sure if he would. But yeah, I wouldn't be mad at if they did that and said, yeah, take this and have him have a run.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it at all. I mean, Mark Briscoe, he's one of the more likable wrestlers
Yeah.
in all of wrestling today.
Mhm.
And I think everybody wants to see him win a championship gold because he's never won a singles title in the 20 years he's wrestled. He's only won tag team
Tag
golds.
team. So yeah, do
So,
like Uncle Eddie and like, you know, get him a belt, get him a chance then, you know.
but it just feels kind of like I don't want to say short-sighted. I would just say microwave booked because it just feels like they just realized that Eddie Kingston wasn't going to be at Death Before Dishonor, so they had to fill in his spot.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so it was like, oh, let's just, because he can't hear, let's give it to this one.
Exactly.
Oh,
unfortunately, it comes off like that.
Yeah,
it comes off like that.
That's so bad. Damn.
Frantic World says, I can't wait to see Mark Briscoe versus Claudio Castagnoli. I can't wait either. That's why we're going to do predictions for Death Before Dishonor on next week's show. So stay tuned for that. And then the final show that we missed this week, Impact on Access TV. The show featured Leo Rush and Nick Aldis defeating the Motor City Machine Guns in a good main event, with the challengers beating the champions ahead of Slammiversary. You had PCO beat the Good Hands in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Post-match, Bully Ray and Steve Macklin attacked PCO and Scott D'Amore. They handcuffed D'Amore to the ring ropes while they chokeslam PCO through a table in the ring. And then after, they took PCO backstage where they set PCO on fire. Krssi Luv, on fire.
This is like a real fight. It's not the one that they did with Bray Wyatt, right?
No, this is a real one. That was the real.
Not making it like you should be setting anyone on fire. I'm just saying, like, this is just you know.
She said, "You better do it legit, or I don't want to hear shit."
Well, I mean, that's not really what I'm saying. What I'm saying.
That's what she tell her kids. Like, don't cry unless he really hits you.
right.
I love it. But yes, that's all from what we missed this week. So we're going to end off this week's show with Miss Krssi Luv's favorite part of the show, match of the week. Sound off in the live chat with your choices for this week's match of the week. This is where you name your top 3 to 5 matches from this past week. Definitely a lot of options here, so I'll start us off because this is probably going to be difficult for me. Honorable mentions. Just missing out. Honorable mentions here. I got a few. The Jun Katsai and El Desperado versus Jon Moxley and Homicide match from Independence Day. Julia versus Willow Nightingale from Independence Day. Yeah, that's all. That's all. And finally, from Money in the Bank, the women's Money in the Bank ladder match with Io winning. That's my last honorable mention. All right. Number 5 for me this week, I'm going to go with the Bullet Club War Dogs versus Catch 2-2 from Independence Day. Just a really fun junior heavyweight title matchup, and Drilla Maloney and Clark Connors working together very well in their new tag team to become champions. Number 4, I'm going to go with... It's like I'm testing the water. Number 4, Mirai versus Tam Nakano from Stardom Mid Summer Champions. Really great match. A lot of emotion. Tam Nakano, one of the best female wrestlers in the world, proven that in this matchup. Number 3, I'll go with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Really enjoyed this. There was just a fun car crash that highlighted everyone very well. Number 2 for me this week, I'll go with Jon Moxley versus El Desperado from New Japan Independence Day. That was just wild. Great matchup. El Desperado stepping up. And then number 1, the Bloodline Civil War. Storytelling, top notch. In-ring work was great. The crowd was amazing. That's my match of the week. Krssi Luv, what's your matches of the week?
Matches of the week, I'm going to go 5 is the women's Money in the Bank. Number 4 will be the men's Money in the Bank. Number 3 will be Willow versus Julia. Number 2, I'm going to go with the main event from Dynamite.
Kenny and Wheeler?
Yes, Kenny and Wheeler. And then my number 1 is the Civil War of the Bloodline.
Look at that. 2 weeks in a row, we had the same number one. Look at that. We're agreeing already, Krssi Luv. But yes, that brings us to a close on another edition of the Tru Heel Heat Flagship Podcast. Sound off in the live chat with your matches of the week. Let us know if you're watching this on demand in the comments down below with your 3 to 5 best matches from last week. Miss Krssi Luv, thank you as always for joining me, being the best co-host in the biz today. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media.
You can follow SP and myself. We're going to be back this week with Dark Side of the Ring. I'm not sure the date we're going to do or if it's going to be recorded, but we will bring it for you guys. And then you can find us every Saturday on our flagship show, which is Tru Heel Heat, 11:05 on Saturdays. Other than that, you can find me on Servant Face the Hills. We'll be back probably the following week. Because of time. And other than that, you can find us and myself on IG, which is Krssi Luv _1 is on the screen. Twitter is Tru Heel Krssi Luv. And then it's just my plain old name. Follow me, at me, and I'll be on watch alongs. I do shows, so hit me up.
Indeed, hit up Krssi Luv. She's doing great stuff. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Tru Heel Heat. Patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 gets you in the door. We got the Tru Heel Heat Prediction Championship Season 5 that's going to kick off next weekend with Slammiversary, the start of the G1 Climax, as well as AAA Triple Mania. You also got ROH Death Before Dishonor. So we'll be previewing all those shows on next week's Flagship Podcast. You also got exclusive videos like the Raw Report. I took a week off. We had, unfortunately, I want to give a shout out to my missus. We lost our dog this week, passed away. So
sorry,
didn't do the Raw Report this week because I was, being there for the family, but the Raw Report will be back next week. We also got the Review of Honor that's over there at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. And of course, you can get that becoming a member of the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel by hitting the join button for just $1 a month. That gets you more exclusive content and makes you a part of everything we do over on Patreon. But check out all the great content we got here, as well as Tru Heel Heat Sports, where tonight they'll be going live for a watch along. Tru Heel Heat Sports 139 for UFC. That's going to be kicking off, I believe, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Romeo, the Around the Point crew, will be there and join us back here on Sunday at 12:05 p.m. Eastern Time for Collision Course, reviewing AEW Collision tonight. And join us. We'll be doing this either on Sunday or Monday, our NJPW Independence Day review with me and Jay News. Jay News was under the weather. We didn't get to do it yesterday, so we'll be bringing that to you either on Sunday or Monday. But thank you so much to all of our special guests, Rob Wilkins of Fightful, Professor Kris of Post Wrestling. Thank you so much to our producers. Thank you so much to everyone who watches us live. Remember to drop the thumbs up on the video, share with your friends, subscribe if you are new. Watching on demand, you could do the same thing, and let us know in the comments down below what you thought about this week in wrestling. For Miss Krssi Luv, for Top Guy JJ, for Rob Wilkins, for Professor Kris, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 233. American money is Golden King. We are signing off until next time.
Later.